Halloween
Forever.
Guys, Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, Brian.
Did Jesus? I missed it. I wasn't paying attention.
I don't subscribe.
I was hungover yesterday, but I did not see. Did Jesus see a shadow? We going this? I missed it. Anyway, got a question for you guys. What do you feed a hungry robot?
What?
I don't know.
Megabytes. Welcome, boys and ghouls, to a very special episode of Halloween is Forever. My name is Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
It's a motherfucking showdown, you guys. It's
Was
an
that
Easter
inflection
showdown.
okay?
Which one?
I said I'm Meg.
That's better
I'm
than
just clarifying here of where I should put inflection.
Meg's having inflection troubles today.
I'm learning.
Classic inflection troubles. And let me clarify. We're getting ready to record, and Meg, you know about Meg, right? Y'all know about Meg. She likes to get down with some Iron City lights from time to time, and she made a bold decision that she was going to put the inflection on the I. And she said, "We said, what do you drink it?" She goes, "Well, today I don't have any icy lights." And Steve and I both, kind of went wink, wink, wink. What? And I don't even know if she realized she did it. She's just really having some inflection issues.
Lights. That's why I have to say I see lights.
I see lights, because you sometimes do. When you're driving at night, you see lights. Yeah, guys, we're here. Like I said, we're recording this. We're recording this a little bit early. We're recording this a couple days before, Jeebus rises, right? So we don't really know what happens. We don't know if he saw his shadow. We don't know if we got 6 more weeks of winter. I have no idea. But we do have one thing that we definitely motherfucking know. It's that we're about to rampage with some robots. On this here Showdown episode, you guys. It's the first Monday. Actually, no, it's the second Monday. We did not do this last week when we were supposed to. If y'all tuned in last week, you heard a little episode. Sans your boy Bry. Sans the big champ, because my grandfather died. You guys, thanks for bringing it up.
Why would you? I was like,
We did.
Thanks for bringing it up. Thanks for bringing it up. It's a sore subject around my house. I did.
Did you listen? Did you listen to that?
I listened to some of it. I honestly could not stand to not hear my voice. So I did not listen to all it. No, I didn't listen to all of it yet. I just been honestly so fucking busy this week. It's been insane. Like I said, my grandfather did pass away, which was not a fun thing to deal with the family, but not to bring the mood down. But you know what? He's almost 92 years old. That's what 92-year-olds do sometimes. But he lived a good life, and you know what? Has got an incredibly interesting life, actually, and like to see where he ended up, in his life with the family and happiness, all this stuff he had. He grew up literally just as like a 5-year-old. His parents threw him on a train, like a trolley car, and just said, "We'll see you when we get back from the bar." Like, that's the type of upbringing he had. So, obviously we're all very sad, but we took a lot of solace in booze, and then also said, you know what? Dude got handed a pretty nasty hand that he was dealt, and played it pretty damn well. So guy lived a hell of a life. So
Are you telling us in this religious holiday that your grandfather was Hobo Moses?
He kind of was a little bit. No, but he literally, he was Connellsville raging alcoholic parents' child.
Oh, wow.
Where they literally they would throw them, like they would be like, "We're going to the bar," and they just put them on when there were trolleys back. This was 90 some years ago or 80 some years ago, and there were trolleys that streetcars around constantly. They just put him on the streetcar for like 6-8 hours at a time. He would just ride around.
God.
Yeah, when he was like 5. So like I said, humble beginnings, but the guy had a hell of a life. So sad, but not to bring down the mood too much. But it was the first episode I ever missed. So it was no, assure you, it was for reasons. But in any case,
I had a great time. If whenever you have time, you should listen to it. We had a fucking blast.
Yeah, we had a fucking blast, and it's great that you didn't hear the whole episode because you missed the end.
I choose not to. No, I'll go back and listen to it.
I don't know if you actually want to hear.
Okay, you piqued my interest. Now I am going to listen to it. I got some travel time next week. I'm going to listen to it then.
Yeah, we just get to skip your fire and brimstone this week. That's all.
Yeah. All right. We'll figure out what it is then. Because now I'm convinced you rotten sons of bitches did something to me. All right. Let's get into this son of a bitchin' episode. But first, we got a couple of things we got to do at the top of the show. First of all, I'll remind everyone who's new to the podcast, if you're listening for the first time, a couple things. First, follow us on the social medias at Halloween is Forever on the Instagrams and the Twitters and the TikTokies and that sort of thing. Check us out. Follow us. It's a great place to obviously engage with us in the show and help us vote on, what those showdown topics are going to be. Give us suggestions for mini-sodes. We use all that shit. Right. Also, if you want to review us on any of the, so Apple Podcasts or the Spotify's or whatever, let us know and we'll send you some stickers in the mail. I owe some people some stickers. I get it. I apologize. This is a free podcast. Fuck yourself. But I will send them to you. Don't worry. And I apologize again for telling you to fuck yourself. All right. And then, before we get into this here, because I've been almost forgetting every damn time. We got beers. I know one thing about the beers. Meg has no icy lights, but she does have some other beers. And then she got some grandma wine, it sounds like.
I got a lot of things. I have options because I'm in the middle of moving, so I don't have a lot of stock of things here.
Sure.
But I was able to get a can of this. I don't know if you guys can see the label. You might appreciate it.
Oh, I can see it. Yeah. It's a little Lady in the Moon situation.
Yeah, it's like a Old Thunder's Vienna style lager called The Power of Ink. It's like really cool traditional style art. It's delicious. I mean, those guys are some of the nicest guys in the industry. B, brew fucking phenomenal beer. And I don't know what the C is besides. It's a delicious beer, and I'm enjoying it. And then I got my grandma wine because I, went and visited my grandmother last night, and she's just like, you know what, mate? Like, do you want a bottle of wine? And I was like, yes, of course.
Yes, yes, Grandma, give me the wine.
So now it's in arm's reach, so that when I'm done drinking this, I'm just gonna drink that out of the bottle because that's kind of where I'm at this week.
Is that a clear bottle? Oh, we got clear bottle wine.
Yeah,
it's a white wine. It's a white wine. All right. Hey, I was going to say, Granny's fucking with the New Zealand.
Yeah, she doesn't fuck around.
Granny's fucking with those Kiwis.
She doesn't. She hooks it up. She doesn't drink shitty wine. She likes cheap wine, but not shitty wine.
Oh, see, my grandma, not a wine drinker. Neither of my grandmas. They might have a glass of wine once every 3 or 4 years, and that's probably some sort of really really shitty like Volant winery. Like it literally
like super sweet and thick, maybe
crazy sweet, syrupy sweet.
That reminds me of my teenage years.
Yeah, that's the type
when
of wine
wasted off Mogan David. If anyone remembers that one.
Yeah, it's like one step above like Thunderbird or Wild Irish Rose or something.
Yeah, I've only vomited while I'm sleeping twice, and it was always after Mogan David.
Oh God,
that's not. I think you're gonna say I've only vomited while I'm drunk twice. No, I've only vomited while I'm sleeping, which is to say almost Jimi Hendrixed myself.
Terrifying. You wake up vomiting. You're like, man, and then it's okay.
I'm imagining Meg laying on her back, vomiting, aspirating, her vomit, almost dying, and then wakes up and goes, "Oh man."
Kind of.
Oh man. Oh dang it.
I almost lead singer of Drowning Pooled myself.
Yeah, I was gonna say, oh man, I almost Jimi Hendrixed it. Dang.
My late teens, early 20s it's a rough time,
Yeah, I had it, this is not funny necessarily. In retrospect, you can make light of it. But one time I walked downstairs in my house in college and found my friend laying on his back, choking on his own vomit.
No.
And I was like, bro,
where is this episode going?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then he woke up and he was like pissed drunk. We took care of him and stuff. And we were like, so every time he would anything, I would give him the old like Danny Kaye to Bing Crosby and White Christmas, like Remember the time I saved your life? Like, let's not, like, you should definitely let me have that last piece of fucking pie or whatever it is.
It's probably fruitcake that you're after.
Oh, and I would play that card so hard. I mean, you'd be dead without me, you son of a bitch. Really lean into it. All right. What, Steve, what do you got?
I'm not, none of those stories. I don't have that.
None of these, like, anybody you love die this week? Any horrible, horrible stories to tell us?
Already.
I know. Things got really morbid.
What I do have, though, is actually a beer you gave to me from the Old Mother Brewing Company.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little chilly on this Good Friday, so I'm drinking a Cave Dweller Winter Lager.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
6% lager there. It's a dark lager. I like a darker lager.
Yeah, the Schwarzbier. I had that one when it was super fresh down at the brewery there in beautiful Frederick, Maryland. I'm actually going down in a couple of weeks here to do a little collab beer with them. For those of you who follow us on the social medias, you might have saw got a little thing happening where I, creating this little kind of weird side project brewing company thing called Dead Arcade Beer, and your boy Steve's kind of my creative partner on this as well. So he's creating a lot of cool stuff for social medias and label art and all kind of sweet stuff for us. So we're actually going to be doing a little collab with our lovely friends down at Old Mother in Frederick, Maryland. I'm actually going down here in a few weeks already. So
they didn't include me because I just pitched Icy Light to them.
Yeah, it was just like, how do we recreate Icy Light? Yeah. And we're like, Meg, leave us alone. And she's like, no,
but Icy Light with
Meg's
blueberries. No,
Meg's got other things she's cooking up in the beer world. I'm sure those of you who know are aware. So, listen, we're doing stuff. We're out here, you guys.
We're busy.
We're out here doing beer stuff. All right, I will tell you what I have here. I am drinking. Actually, I grabbed myself, like I said, hell of a damn week, ready to just get rip roaring ass drunk. I had 3 beers. I brought one of them. I drank while I was cooking my kids' dinner, which is one of them old Pilsner Kells you guys might have heard something about. What I'm drinking right now, though, is Von Trapp Helles. I know I've talked about Von Trapp on the brewery, or I'm sorry, on the about this brewery on the podcast before, but they just consistently make really great beer. They're from Vermont, and they really focus on Central European styles, Austrian, German, beer styles. And this one is the Helles Golden Lager, which, we have one of those over at the old Sly Fox. And this one it's actually remarkably different than ours, but really good too. Like people, I think, are starting to pick up on the fact that Helles is a pretty broad style. It doesn't have to be one thing. It's a lot of different things. And this one's definitely a little bit more hop character than a lot of Helles. But still super clean. It's got a little bit of a rounder, chewier type of character. Like I said, a little bit more hop aromatics than your average Helles beer, but dang, it's a good one. And then the last one I have sitting over here, I'm going to crack into in a hot sec, is New Trail Lazy River Pils.
Oh, okay.
Which is like a dry hopped Pils, which is good. It's a little aggressive for a Pils, and aggressively hopped for a Pils in my mind. But I figured, hey, start with the Pilsner Kel. Then you get a little hoppier, and then you get a little hoppier, and then you get fucking wild and crazy.
I just want to talk, since you're talking about Helles, I really appreciate you guys' April Fool's Day.
Oops, all Helles.
Oops, all
Helles. I loved that.
I was very pleased with myself, as you might imagine.
I like the accompanying video that went with it as well.
Oh, yeah.
The customer control.
It felt like how you would probably actually talk to someone. Like,
oh, yeah, that's how I talk to everybody. Like, it was, why are you being stupid right now?
Yeah.
I'm
what
terrible to work
don't you
with.
get?
Yeah. Oh, I'm terrible to work with. But no, we were sitting in one of our marketing meetings, and I threw that out there, about the Oops All Helles. And we literally just sat there and giggled like children, coming up with stupid ideas of like, we were like, but so that video, it got cut down, but like the initial one, we probably shot 20 minutes of us just pretending to be on the phone. Like one of them I was doing with a banana. I love to pretend to talk to a banana like it's a phone. So we were doing a lot of that type of stuff and just going like, yes, we get it. It actually does have, 4 different varieties, and it's just that all 4 varieties are the same beer. Like we're just being assholes on it. So But it was fun. And then our one of our guys who does graphic design and marketing stuff for us whipped up that little fake label, which I thought was cool. Yeah, listen, we're in the beer business. We gotta have fun. If you can't have fun with beer, it's fucking lame. You
might as well just do something else.
You might as well do something else because there's a lot of easier jobs you can have.
That's true, man. A lot of self-reflection right now.
I think people work in the beer business. You have to at least 3 to 4 times a week question your entire existence.
Yeah.
Let's just get into these old fucking movies.
Just quickly, just a quick thing, because I don't know if since you didn't listen to the episode, I don't know if you got to it.
Oh yeah.
But we did pick May's Showdown.
Oh, good. You guys are the responsible ones. Thank you. What's the Showdown?
And so since you didn't know about this, we'll give it to you. Our 3 Showdown topics are full moon features.
Oh, geez. Okay, that's relevant here.
Yeah. Telekinesis Kyle.
So
we got another chance at telekinesis movies, and then Before They Were Stars. So anything of like actors who got their start in horror movies and then went on to be big names. Big shining stars.
We could do a little Leprechaun. We could do a little oh my god, there's so many good ones there.
Do Ghoulies.
Right. You could do Ghoulies. We could do horror, Return to Horror High. We could do so many good ones.
Yeah.
Full moon features. Okay. It. Although I feel like we've talked about a lot of my favorite full moon features already on this show. Not all of them.
It's good, but that's how it is exhausted. And it puts you on your back heels a little bit.
Oh yeah. That's Telekinesis Kyle. So some telekinesis movies. I like that. That one has been on there before and didn't win. But yeah, Before They Were Stars. Very, very cool. So excited for that. So look for that on the social medias this week. Again, another opportunity to follow us. Go follow us on there, specifically on Instagram and Twitter is where we vote. You'll see it in our Instagram stories. You'll see it in a little Twitter poll, and you'll click on which one of them some bitchin' ones you want. And then once we know, then we will pick our movies that are associated with those topics. Then we'll talk about them in the Showdown. We'll vote. Somebody will take home that motherfucking strap. Yeah, it's some bitchin' shoulder candy, guys. So at this point, you all know this. Your boy's the champ. I'm bringing, the belt is back where it belongs on this son of a bitchin' set of shoulders. So that being said,
you remind me.
This is how I remind you. That was a Nickelback quote.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
You're off the show now.
Oh, I'm fucking rare form.
You're canceled.
Right. I just got canceled,
making
you guys.
Nickelback references.
I thought I was uncancelable at this point, but apparently not. Yeah, let's get into this fucking thing, this robot rampage that we're dealing with here. Okay, so as always, to the victor go the spoils. I get to choose the order in which we talk about these fucking movies. So this is a little unorthodox in that Meg was really, I don't know if gifted is the right word, a movie to talk about. It's really more of like, it almost feels like a punishment. I mean, this movie was dog shit.
I mean, you guys chose it primarily because it was
we had never seen it. None of us saw it.
But we knew it probably wasn't going to be great.
We also didn't know it was going to be 46 minutes long.
I was that was the best part of it.
That honestly, God, you ain't wrong, sister. The best part of it is that it was under an hour.
I was shocked.
Well, then I was like, okay, why is it literally on no? And I know like Full Moon Features has their own like streaming service and all that stuff that they're trying to push out there. But I was like, why does this movie exist nowhere else? Oh, it's because it's fucking 46 minutes long. That might be a part of it, but
also it's brand new.
It is. It's brand new. It just came out. And
I was mad for a minute because I was like, oh, I got fucking tricked into spending $7 for the month to subscribe to Full Moon Features. And it's like, they boomed me. They tricked me into watching a 46-minute movie for $7. But because we have Full Moon Features on a possible, it could get more use. And also, I realize there's a bunch of Charles Band films I haven't seen, so I probably actually will get some more use out of it.
There are, and there's some good ones. There are some good ones. Your Castle Freaks of the world and so like that. There are some really he makes some really great movies. This is not one of them.
No, but this is a Jim Wynorski too.
Wynorski flick, which is a different animal altogether. For those of you who know your boy Jim Wynorski, you're getting into some real doo-doo. But so here's what I would like to do. I think what we'll do is we'll let Meg get this sumbitch out of the way. Right off the top.
Get it out of the way.
Like I said, the whole damn movie's 45 minutes long. So there's not a lot to talk about. And the plot could be summarized literally in 6 words. So we'll go through that. And then I'll go up next, and then Steve can pick up the rear, and then we'll go that route. How's that sound?
Interesting. Okay.
All right, Meg, tell us about Murderbot, aka Killbot, aka Murder-Bot. This
AKA
taking the world by storm.
Droid land. Honestly, if you would have told me that the WWE would have had something to do with this, I would have believed you. Like for just like a little bit because of how bad it was. So yeah,
I don't love like what you're insinuating, but sure, I get what you're saying.
What do you mean? Do you like some of the WWE films?
Some of them see no evil.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, okay. So if you like them, I just like
the films though are generally bad.
The bot in general, she's primarily who I'm referring to because, yeah. So basically, to surmise this film, we basically have a sentient AI robot. Who goes on a berserker
Appreciate the British pronunciation.
Robot. I'm also just imagining I'm a frog because that's way more entertaining than talking about this movie.
Yeah.
She ends up in a small town where then a group of random kids end up at the same time.
Ooh, driving that sweet Chrysler Pacifica.
Oh yeah, sweet. To then have the scientists who create her try to also stop her. But what stops her is a trumpet. Basically, that's it.
That's kind of the whole movie.
So we basically open up. I kind of had a little bit of fun with the music, but it also felt like just stock industrial goth wannabe music where a lot of the sounds that like were used in this, you could tell were just purchased so cheaply. There was zero. Like if you would have said you have $100 to do anything with the soundscape for this movie, you're talking about music and
$100 is your budget for sound.
$100.
Yeah.
I think that's what this movie had.
And you know what? You'd have got change back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. Like there are some songs in this movie, quote, that are like they have lyrics and everything. And as a person who has like requested for usage of music on a podcast in previous years, like people will just send you music. Like you don't have to pay for shit. People will just send you music. So guaranteed, like if Jim Wynorski puts the call out and says, hey, I need some music for a feature film directed by the director of Chopping Mall. Like there's going to be at least 4 or 5 desperate ass bands who are going to go, please use our songs. And then he does because none of the songs really fit anything. They're just there to be in the background. What I have to say
about that, though, is that like he probably said, hey, you want to be in a feature film, but he just ignored the full moon part of it and then just let it go.
And the feature part because it's under 60 minutes.
I was going to say, and the feature part as well.
Yeah. So, okay, we open up and we get introduced to Raquel, who is our AI bot here. My first note is that, especially since we talked about it on the last episode, Brian, you will eventually hear, is like talking about how like Megan, we specifically brought up that she like learned how to walk like a robot really well. Like, what like her movements were good. Raquel, on the other hand, not so good. Though I appreciated her like platform, boots that she had on because they definitely reminded me of like a Frankenstein. So like in my brain, that's what I was associating with like, oh, she came alive kind of thing. Like,
the robotic movements are not from her like, physical acting so much as the choice of footwear.
I think she actually just learned how to walk from the military because that's pretty much, she just looked like she was just trying to march.
She would have been more natural wearing fucking Nickelodeon moon boots. Like that's how bad she's just,
it's
I'm not
terrible.
not trying to destroy anybody. This movie is what it is.
Word. So we have Raquel is now somehow ended up in this little small town that's really close to what seemingly is the base camp for where she was created. I forget if they actually stated the name of the town off the top of my head, but we basically, everything about this movie, it felt so choppy and just like pieces were put together. But right before we officially, I'm trying to think of Raquel meets the first people in the cast. We get introduced to this little diner where, guys, I actually am going to make a point to say that I not only I get to talk about a robot Rampage movie, but I also get to talk about a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
You realize that?
I did not anticipate this was a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie.
Neither did I.
So I didn't see that one coming.
I want to point something out that I found so crazy is that this is filmed on kind of it's a relatively known movie ranch that's out in California, and this is filmed on the exact same set as a recent Tubi original film called Hellblazers, starring it has like Tony Todd and Adrienne Barbeau and Bruce Dern in it.
I saw this and I was like, what a cast. But I haven't watched it yet.
It's okay. It's pretty okay. It's way better than this,
and it's better than Ghost Ship or whatever the fuck. What was that one to be original? That was Titanic 666.
But that was also an asylum film, so that one was
different. An asylum film. You're right.
No, the Hellblazers is actually pretty good. Go on Tubi, check it out. But it's the exact same thing. And also Billy Zane's in it. Billy Zane is hilarious, but it's the exact same set, except for on this film, it's completely dressed down. And like they don't have any of, like, occasionally there's like a crossover vehicle parked in the background, but with no continuity. But like Hellblazers is also a Christmas movie.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, why am I watching?
I don't know. I just don't know if that set looked like a Christmas movie or this is just like people show up. They're like, guys, I have a great idea. What if we just also make this a Christmas movie? Let's just crossover right now.
I feel like maybe they were just using leftover things from Hellblazer, but
I think you're got to be right.
It's got to be right. But like,
what did that's the funny part is, like, I obviously haven't seen the other film, but like there was literally the only things that we knew that this was a Christmas movie was the fact that when they were in the diner, they're like, hey, yeah, we're sorry, it's Christmas and blah, blah, blah. Like, there's no Christmas decorate. I couldn't even, and then the trumpet where guys just playing Jingle Bells all the time. Yeah.
I think it's literally because we see the two people who are in the diner, they get killed and then wrapped in Christmas lights. And I bet those Christmas lights were left over from Hellblazers.
Yeah.
But like in Hellblazers, it's actually more of a Christmas movie in California because like in between the diner and the gas station is a Christmas tree farm. And then there's like Christmas decorations all throughout the film. Like they do a much better job.
So this town is kind of like the Christmas tree capital of California.
Of the desert. Yeah.
It's just a filming ranch. Like there's just like so it's in Santa Clarita County. And like there's just a whole bunch of like movie ranches up in this area, and 3 of them are owned by the same family. I did looking into this because I got interested, but there's it's the Veluzat family. They own like 3 movie ranches up there, and just a quick tie-in is one of the movie ranches is where Westworld the TV show was filmed.
No shit. I was waiting for you to say this is where Westworld was filmed too. Yeah. Like, because I was like, do they, wonder if they have like this reminded me also of like this could have been a lot or an adjacent lot or something. Could have been where the Texas Chainsaw remake, was shot or something like that. It's all feels like it's could be shot like in that same valley or even like Nope or something. You know what I mean? It all feels like it's that same environment.
It's literally like 5 or 10 miles down the road is like the set that Westworld the TV show was shot, and also Rob Zombie's 3 from Hell Both of
yeah, okay.
They have like they have a mock-up Mexican village is where all that was shot. So like
pretty sick.
Killbots and Westworld the TV show tying together.
Totally. Hey Brian, guess what? Our movies are the same.
Same
films.
I get them confused all the time.
I don't want to forget to mention too. I think I started to say that we met Raquel because we did meet her first, but she met the gas station attendant, which for being such a small town, you would think that everyone would know what everyone else is doing and they would have some sort of rapport of like, oh, hey, I'm going to go see Jimmy down the street real fast. Like you would know immediately if something happened.
Yeah.
But this that guy, the attendant for the gas station, just the things that he said were the most insane things that I've ever heard. Like this is just a tits and ass movie as well.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
Straight up. Like we'll go into one of the other scenes in a little bit later.
Becky
I know you guys know
listen, you look at the cast here. You kind of got to figure this. August Kiss, Becky LeBeau. Like it's it's adult performers, right?
Yeah.
In some instances.
This would have definitely been on Skinamax at some point or another, for sure. I think I wrote, let me see. I put a couple quotes down because I thought it was funny. I also wanted the guy's confidence was just so insane to me. And I feel like though it was like a caricature of dudes in general of I'm a very not attractive, in the middle of nowhere, but I am just a man and I am just going to be can I check your oil with my dipstick? Because this feels like dating apps personified.
Yeah.
This is it in real life.
Welcome to this world, y'all. Anywho, the only other note I had before going into talking about the diner was that the art because that was then the opening sequence and the art was just so bad. It just reminded me of they just how we had on social media those AI whether it was an app or a filter or whatever for people taking photos. Did you guys catch that? Okay, that's what it just made me feel that they just were here, we're gonna put a couple pictures, just see what comes out.
Yeah,
we're gonna
I mean, the opening sequence is straight up Dolly AI generated because Dolly's free. They wouldn't spend the money for Midjourney. I've done some pretty decent things on Midjourney that I'm kind of enjoying it. But
it's fun.
I didn't even know what you're talking about, but I kind of was just
it's like an AI bot. Yeah, it's like an AI bot thing you do on or not Reddit. Jesus.
Your guys' first beer label is going to be made on that, right?
No.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a lot of weird concept art that I've definitely created on that. That's for sure.
There's concept art and there's content, but it's not going to be the labels. All the labels are all Steve putting it in. But yeah, they're definitely using Dolly generated. They put in woman, robot, cyberpunk, and then they took some shitty stock footage of ink cloud effects and put it in the background. Yeah. And it's just slap, slap, slap. And I looked at it and I'm like, I could make this in 10 minutes.
This whole movie, I'm going to guess, was between the time they started shooting it to the time they had a finished product, could not have been more than 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree. For sure.
That's kind of my other theory is Hellblazers rented the Diamond V Ranch to film on, and they finished up a week ahead of schedule. And so Jim Wynorski paid just a little bit to use the rest of the week to film this.
There you go. Wow. Man, I think you just wrote the biography for this movie.
Yeah. I just figured out the production schedule. They said, "Oh, hey, you guys are done with this. Do you mind if we just piggyback on and use the rest? Are you going to be mad?"
Yeah. It's already scheduled. Sure happened.
We will give you $200.
Yeah, shooting for sure couldn't have been more than 3 days. So then this is where we just get introduced to the people who run the diner, and they let go their busty blonde waitress, but she's just I totally get it, guys. Hey, All right, no biggie. Thanks. Like that was it.
I get it.
I get it. This town sucks. There's only four of us. There's the three of us here in the diner, and then
I'll
the
go be the mayor now. Yeah.
And then the creepy ass fucking gas station guy.
Yeah,
like,
that's it.
Yeah, well, and
There's
he's
only a
already
couple
taking
things
care.
you're gonna do.
Yeah.
You know, the nice thing.
There's 4 people in 5 jobs. You're gonna find it. You just gotta. It's like hot potato. You just pass it on.
You know what? In this type of town, you can create your own reality. She's probably going to go sell feet photos after that.
She could go sell foot photos, or I just would have loved it if she showed up later as the sheriff.
Oh, that would have been great.
I'm the sheriff now, because who fucking says no?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say no to her being the sheriff. Giddy up.
Sure.
Sorry, my brain is not.
You didn't
not
see
existing.
Meg when she said giddy up too. She did a shoulder shake.
Yeah.
I feel like no one
Giddy
understands
up.
the show.
You know, she kind of does this like just to kind of try to describe it to you. It's not like an up and down. It's a like I'm gonna put one shoulder forward, like you're doing the hokey pokey with the shoulders, like one shoulder in, one shoulder out, kind of thing.
She's sitting down but sashaying.
It's sassy and it's just the sass coming out.
It's
and
a
you guys just
sassy
get it.
shoulder shake.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's just like
Yeah.
Anywho, so Busty Blonde leaves, and then we get Raquel walking in. You know, she just stumbles in, and no one just thinks this is weird. You know, so clearly the other 2 people who are left, they're boning, and they're just like doing whatever. They're about to go on a hot ass date down, and I swear to God, they probably have a mechanical bull that they just like manage themselves somewhere in one of the other buildings. That's what I'm assuming they were going to go do, and then maybe play pool. I'm making that up, guys.
Classic date.
No, you're probably right, Meg.
Classic Western date.
I will say I did go on a date like a few weeks ago, and I asked the guy if he would ride a mechanical bull. That's not a joke.
So you're projecting. But I think you're right though, because like the diner's open 7 to 3, and then they close that down, but then I'll open the bar from 4 to 2.
You know what it reminds me of? Because we're going to go on a lot of side quests, and I told you I want to keep this tight, but when I was moving, definitely not, because all the stories are.
You've already talked longer than the runtime. Yeah.
So when I was moving back from Oregon, I stopped in I got stuck in Wisconsin. I was trying to make it to Milwaukee, but there was a crazy ice storm. So I literally just got off at the next exit that I could find. At a hotel right there, motel, I should say. And I walked in and there was no one there. There's like no reception desk, but there is a phone right ahead of me that says, call this number. We are at the bar on the other side of the parking lot. And this is the exact
this is the
same
most
thing.
Wisconsin story I've ever heard.
And then the other thing that you'll appreciate is that the decor in the lobby there was a turkey in a glass case. It was enclosed, and this was
turkey.
Probably a turkey.
You lost me. There was
a stuffed
a literal,
turkey. A stuffed
okay,
turkey.
Gotcha.
Sorry, stuffed turkey. Like fanned
I was with
out
you. It was
in a glass
taxidermy.
case. Yeah, taxidermy. It was fucking taxidermy.
Gotcha.
We're in Wisconsin.
It went over my head.
Everything just made total sense. And so these things are all coming together with this movie. Same places. But anywho, so Raquel walks in. The woman in the scene is like trying to connect with her, and she just like Raquel's like an AI, so like she's quote unquote like trying to like learn from people, and so I don't care. She said something about hell, and she's like, no, Raquel. Like everything about this conversation is awkward. But then that woman also says something about men being dumb, and she's like, men dumb, and like these are just weird, awkward things that are going on.
This is such a piece of film. I would argue that like this movie isn't, this is more of a Jim Wynorski flick than like really having a classic, more of like a Charles Band type of feel to it. But the dialogue is still kind of, I don't know, felt unmistakably Full Moon in a lot of instances.
Oh, yeah.
Like that sort of dialogue. It reminded me of a conversation that would have happened in the diner in, Head of the Family or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah. Like when what's her face also with the big boobs is possessed.
Mhm.
Yeah, same thing.
I don't know a lot of full moon feature films, but I'm gonna assume that there's just like a lot of big boobs.
Oh, yeah.
Might be a selling point for me.
Not always, but there's like little like side, because you obviously have the Puppet Master franchise, which is like its own thing. It's kind of got its own little like kind of feel to it, and you have like the baby oopsie or whatever, that's kind of its own little thing, and like you definitely have these little corners and franchises within full moon features, but some of the ones just like standalone movies, they have a flavor, I would say, for sure.
I would say if you go into the Evil Bong series, you're gonna get a lot of big boob stuff.
You get the idea.
A lot of big boob
Evil
stuff.
Bong. Or even Ginger Dead Man, you're getting
big
that
boob
stuff,
stuff.
obviously. Yeah.
Word. So Raquel, having no emotional connection to anything, kills both the waitress and the guy who's also running the diner. Pretty quick scene. Again, this is a very quick paced movie, so I feel like I'm getting stuck on some of like little details, but there's really no point to this.
I mean, there are good details though, because like I love the fact it's so silly.
Guys, grandma wine's coming out.
Okay, grandma wine.
There we go.
But like it's so silly because like they're going through this diner scene and then they're like, let's get her some pie, and then she's like, no pie, and then she kills everybody and she spikes the camera to deliver the line "no pie" before she leaves.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is this?
This is so silly.
Like it really is like just almost improvised, some of it, or it doesn't.
Yeah.
She's like, I have a great idea.
Yeah.
Let me do this again.
A choice. I have a choice.
If why didn't they just hire China for this film? Like
she is dead.
She's dead.
Oh wait,
Why did they just hire China simultaneously? Steve, go. She dead.
Yeah,
Meg.
I honestly totally forgot that, but that's now makes me sad to remember that. Oh man,
but no, she did sadly pass. Meg, thank you.
This episode is going in weird directions tonight.
Yeah. You are right though, but I think Joni Lore would have like commanded a higher price tag
for sure,
and like she would have been a better actress, I think. And she would have fit the role better because like the whole time we have this Raquel bot like doing flexes and like she doesn't have like small arms, but you want like big guns.
Yeah, you want somebody jacked like she is. Yeah. Like they probably should have got they should have got like a Brittany Murphy or a Kirstie Alley type for this.
So anywho, now
just naming dead actresses.
A real Betty White role.
Hey, if this movie was made in heaven or hell, like the afterlife. Anywho, I don't believe in that shit. Okay, so the transitions for this movie are
Anna Nicole Smith will really fucking kill them.
Damn it.
Sorry.
She would have sure gone after the guy who owns the diner.
Yeah.
So,
all right, I'm gonna stop.
Yeah. So again, the transitions are really poor, and you're just kind of getting cut to cut. You're like, we just need to give you the shit to make anything make sense, even though we know at the end of the day it's not going to make sense. So we get introduced to kind of like a little bit more of the background of where Raquel came from. We go to the lab, and again, just leading into that first, the two kind of assistant scientists of sorts, what the fuck? Why would they decide that those like high ponytail space buns, like they're gonna go to a fucking Spice Girls concert? Like
that's scientist hair.
Yeah.
That was so specific.
Because they're hilarious. They're hilarious.
This is the same production company and the same writer, one of the writers, as Evil Bong 777, so like, and Barbie Corona Zombies,
right.
I'm reading down there. He also wrote Barbie and Kendra Save the Tiger King. Like these are real movies that he wrote. So that's the answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so no questions on that then. Of course. So
makes 100% sense.
Also, these characters I don't think they ever say it in the film, but these characters are named Mary and Mary. One with a Y and one with an I.
Brilliant.
That makes
fucking
total
brilliant.
sense.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. But the lead scientist was always just like, I like how they played her off like she's like, no, I slept, but I didn't get much sleep, like Like they're just insinuating.
meaningless
She just got
little dialogue.
railed last
Yeah.
night. I was like, this is so pointless. And I feel like there's no value to her being a scientist, which is so fucking hilarious to me. Anywho, the lab. We are in the lab. We're like, hey, we're learning a little bit more. And then we meet the basic like general to this whole situation. Is like, where the fuck is my girl? Which again, creepy. He definitely is trying to bang her when she's like tied up. We know that. We understand that.
He definitely, like, when no one's looking, he grabs its hoots. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Did you just call boobs hoots?
I did. Yeah.
Hoots. The old set of hoots. Yeah.
I've never heard anyone say that.
Well, now you have.
So I appreciate that.
Your life is enriched.
Thank you, Steve. I'm gonna
Welcome
remember
to a
this.
whole new world.
I'm gonna remember this forever. Anywho, so they're like,
Hoots.
well, we gotta find Raquel's hoots, get her back to daddy. He isn't zaddy though. Let's just be clear.
No. He's just kind of old.
He's like he's grandfather.
Yeah. Just a quick stop on this actor. His name's Arthur Sellers, and he has a very interesting IMDb profile because he's only done 2 movies that he's acted in. But Brian, you'll enjoy this. He was the writer on Max Headroom.
No shit.
Yeah.
I fucking love Max
He
Headroom.
was a writer on Max Headroom. He was a writer on Here Come the Raisins, which was one of the California Raisins.
Jesus Christ. He is the king of obscure 80s and 90s pop culture.
And then a writer on Transformers Beast Wars.
Damn. If you would have said he was the creator of Mac Tonight, that would have been the trifecta. But seriously, Max Headroom and the California Raisins, like those are like I just did my will recently, and I left everything I own if I died to the California Raisins and Max Headroom. So that's fucking what a coincidence.
You gotta earn this.
Yeah, no, you guys have not proven to me that you can surpass one Mr. Max Headroom. So. That's wild.
Should I continue?
Yeah. No, good. We're done reminiscing on obscure TV shows.
No. I want to leave you guys room. I want to leave.
I want to
space
say,
here
I
for
was going to
this.
say maybe he would do a cartoon Heroes to the Rescue or whatever that one is, where they tell kids like 3-year-olds don't smoke crack. And, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles tell 5-year-olds that crack is whack and all that. Yeah. That fucking show
He
rules.
also, that it's like insurance company. It's like, can you save some time and sign up for insurance online or something like that? And he's like the general, but like the cartoon. That's what it reminds me.
He's the real
of.
life. He's the real life version.
He's like the real life version
general.
of that. He's the real general. I don't even know. Is that insurance called like the general? Maybe.
It is called the General. Yeah. It's like one of the larger insurance companies in the country. It's wild. It is.
Really?
It's wild. It actually is a really wild story behind that company.
You have their insurance, don't you?
I don't, but Shaq, Shaquille O'Neal, like fronts them. He's like a purse for them, and he insists it's because whenever he was like a kid, like they're all about like state minimum coverage and all that, and nobody would give him insurance because he was like a high risk, kid or whatever, and they gave him insurance, and he like never forgot that. So now he like reps their brand like on the cheap. It's a really weird story, but
that's
anyway.
kind of cute. That's kind of sweet. I kind of like those type of things.
Yeah.
Now
we can do a whole episode on the general.
I don't want to get sentimental. I want to talk
on
about
Shaq investments.
Yeah, because that's just like sweet shit. That's great. I don't want to taint it with this movie.
Right, yeah.
Breezing over this. We meet those characters. We meet them. There's not really a lot to point out here besides, again, we meet the tits and ass. We meet the granddaddy. I shouldn't say that, grandfather. He is grandfather. General grandfather. We learn Raquel also then like leaves the town a little bit. I think this is when she ends up killing the camper. And he's only listed as Happy Camper on IMDb as his character, which again, like the kills, I think like there's definitely minimal budget. So it's like there's a lot of like, I think they did an okay job on like the blood, but not like the scenes of the kills.
Some of that CGI blood was no bueno.
Oh, the CGI blood was bad.
The
but
CGI blood splatter.
Yeah, but like when they were places, I was like, that's fine. I'll accept that.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, it's like, fine. Again, this movie was slapped together for like $300 in 2 weeks. It feels like, so, you know, it is what it is. 2 minutes
into this movie, my bar was lowered so far.
Oh yeah.
So me giving them little props. There's a little bit of an asterisk on it.
Mm-hmm.
Blah, blah, blah. Anywho, so now we jump to meeting the kids, which is what I'm going to call them.
Boo, they suck. I couldn't wait till they died.
Yeah. So bad. I
wanted them to die in real life.
I just wanted the van to flip.
Yeah, and then credits roll.
Yeah.
I would have been more sad about that sweet Chrysler Pacifica than I would have been for any of those people.
I really wanted the one kid to be killed with his trumpet.
Mm-hmm. Oof.
Like,
it's tough.
I think I would be more entertained to learn about like how they came up with the conclusion that she would somehow be inhibited by a trumpet. And so that someone now in the movie has to be an avid trumpet player. Like, I don't I'm so curious because these are funny things.
I think Jim Wynorski and gang were out there messing through the trash, scrounging through the trash. They found that half-working string of lights. They found a trumpet, and they said, "That's a movie."
The script was written on site. Let's just assume this was all ad-libbed. This was all improv. This was all just like on the fly.
You would believe it. If I thought that any of the people participating in this were capable of any amount of improvisation, I would agree with you.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure Raquel was definitely improving like her performance because
she might have been,
because she made the very real choice of mixing RoboCop and Frankenstein and Ben Stiller in Zoolander, because she's always making blue steel face as she marches around.
Face. This movie is honestly,
this is just the Botox.
This movie is like I said, I like a lot of full moon features, and I like a lot of. I have went on record as saying I love Chopping Mall, which is a Jim Wynorski flick. Love Chopping Mall. It's honestly one of my favorite fucking movies. This movie is dog shit and has almost no redeeming qualities.
Dog shit.
And it's not even funny. It's just mostly annoying. Mm-hmm. Maybe it'll be funny 10 years or 20 years from now. I don't know.
I think the one funny, I did laugh at one part, and it's where it's again in the lab with like the Marys, and that
was literally the only kind of funny scene.
But like just the way the one Mary gets so excited to give a makeover to the robot, I don't know, it just made me laugh.
Steve, this is a real thing. Have you ever given a makeover?
No.
Been given one?
No.
Because that's exciting.
I have obviously never been given a makeover, Meg. For anybody who can tell from my dress and homeless chic.
What about me or Steve would suggest that we would give or receive makeovers?
Brian, you have daughters. I guarantee you're going to ask
I have. No,
your
I've
nails
definitely
to be painted.
Oh yeah, my nails have been painted. My hair has been put in. All manner of things. Yes, a child's makeover. Yes,
these are basically children that are just not
smoother
children.
brains.
Yeah. Anywho, wow. Okay, so this movie is so bad that I think what we say is more hilarious and great than what it is. Anywho, okay. I don't to go into the details. Highlights of meeting the kids is that the main point is the one kid who probably has never had his dick touched, just plays a trumpet, and he plays Jingle Bells. And I forget, did I say Jenga? I think I did.
Jenga Bells. Yeah.
That's how you don't get sued. You play Jenga Bells.
Yeah.
I don't know what the other one was. I can't remember the other song. But anywho, poorly, and he's annoying everyone. So anywho, these kids, somehow they're like, oh my God, I have no gas. Like, we need to find a spot. Because
there's
you're irresponsible.
So much conversation about getting gas.
Too much.
There's so much conversation about getting gas.
We're talking about it more than we should too. They end up in this town where Raquel is kind of in the perimeter. Which again, the weird thing that there's no continuity to where she is when she is, because you would assume after she did the kill and there's no one else there, she would have left, but no, she's just still there. Anywho, so let me show you who's the first kill. Okay, so one of the girlfriends is the first one killed, if I remember correctly. Anywho, the kids start getting killed and they're like, oh my God, we're getting killed. We're going to go to the diner because it's safe. What I found so hilarious about all this stuff was like the weird contradictions in like, to the point the girlfriend to the main guy driving, she first said, if you're not back in 10 minutes, I'll have a plan. And then when she's asked if she has a plan, she's like, no. And then in one of the last scenes, they walk into that one cabin. They're like, oh my God, this is the safest place. And yet the door like doesn't fully close and it's kind of like rocks. And they're like, we're going to die. Like these weird little things.
Let's
I'm like,
stand in this kindling with no doors or windows.
Exactly. Yeah. So anywho, to breeze over this, we get a lot of when they are in the diner, the only interesting where we talked about it, where they see that the two people that were originally in the diner are wrapped in Christmas lights. The guy is not dead. Okay. They don't try to save him, but he is not dead. Blood comes out of his mouth. Okay.
That's
sounds
usually
good.
In movies, that means you're dead, but not always.
I feel like that's like when you're dying, but there's no help to be had. They're like, we're horny teenagers and we just want to go have our fuck fest. So let's figure this out. But they have no idea what to do. So anyway,
they try to get him water. for his internal bleeding.
That's awesome. Yeah. Like there's nothing happening. Funny comments, I think, even like just silly things. And I'm just like, these are such silly comments that when they see the phone booth, they're like, what do you know what that is? I saw Superman. Why did you like, these are weird. So many things were said that were unnecessarily said. I think this movie would have been aided if they just like, it was a silent film. I think that would have actually been better.
Honestly, I was thinking about this. The best way to improve this film is for it to not exist.
Yeah.
That's really the only way that it's going to be better. Like, I mean, just make a totally different movie or don't make it at all. Like, this was one movie that, like, it would have been better if it never happened. Like, I truly think the world would have been better if it didn't happen.
Yeah, my notes straight up jump to when they get to the cabin. So they're in the last lady and the trumpet boy end up being like, we're gonna try to save the world because he just wants to get his dick sucked still. So that's still on the table.
So at this point, this is still a very real possibility.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean,
normally when you find a corpse, you're like, my dick is gonna stay dry. But in this instance, it's like, no, this might still happen.
They got more horny.
Yeah.
More horny. So let's be clear about that. So this is when they go to the cabin where they're like, oh my God, we're going to be so safe here. And it's like, again, I like laughed out loud. I'm like, I watched the door just like bounce. I'm like, there's no knob. This is just fucking hilarious. And these weird contradictions. So Raquel finds
you would have been
them.
more safe if you would have laid down and put a paper bag over your head.
Probably. Yeah.
That would have been safer.
I don't think Raquel would have seen you.
Probably not.
We don't know how Raquel really understands people. Does she read body heat? Like, what does she
does she do a T-Rex situation? Is it based on motion? I don't know.
My brain just made her arms like a foot and a half shorter, but still flexing. It's
still giant biceps. No, it was. They did show through her eyes on multiple occasions,
couple times,
right?
Yeah,
and there was like a heat signature thing, if I'm recalling, isn't it? I don't remember.
I think you're remembering Westworld.
Yeah,
I feel like
might have been. I checked out like
was
15 minutes into
it was the most
generic
like green screen. Like you would see the same type of thing, I think, in like a military, like if you had like night vision goggles, like that's what it reminded me of. Like it was so basic. But let's see. Okay, cool. I think another funny line, which I just thought was weird. So, okay, the scientist and oh wait, guys, let's pause. Let's talk about the best scene in this movie for 2 seconds.
The full frontal?
Where the full frontal was probably the only interesting scene in this movie. Pure Skinamax bullshit. Where we have the scientist, which I have no idea why this scene exists besides they're like, if we have a budget, we're blowing it right here to get this chick to rub lights that I seemingly are sanitizing her body. Her grandfather is what I'm assuming as well. And that's the scenario I'm making in my head is the guy that she's sleeping with is probably grandfather too. Side
Probably.
piece.
You love that shit.
Yeah, but this is like
Classic Meg incest.
two.
Love Meg. Listen, guys,
No,
Meg
no,
is
no.
like that's a big deal for her.
It's kind of like calling someone daddy or zaddy, but he's like
Oh,
grandfather.
not her grandfather.
Yeah,
I
he's
get
just
it.
on like how
Like
you would.
grandfather.
Yeah, but you're not actually related. You're just like that's how you see him, but you're still kind of horny for it. Weird.
Gotcha.
I
Classic.
get it.
Yep.
Classic.
Although not to shame the actress or anything, but her age would probably dictate that he would still just be her daddy.
That's true.
yeah.
She's. I would say she's
sure.
got to be early 50s,
Really?
I mean, 40s at least.
late 40s, maybe. I don't know. I get the feeling. Which one? What? Now I got to check. Now I'm very.
She's Dr.
curious.
Merriweather,
It's
right?
August Kiss, and she's
August
yeah.
Kiss. Yeah. No, I was thinking of the other.
Wait, is
So
August Kiss
is.
like an actual like actress or like a porn star?
She
Both?
is an actress, but she's both. I mean, yeah, she
Okay,
definitely
she's on
is.
adult
Oh,
films
I was
and
getting it
blah, blah.
mixed up with one of the other ones. Yeah, August Kiss is not
Oh,
that
she was in
old. I don't think.
Chopping Mall too.
no.
Wait, no, she's not that old.
August Kiss. I'm literally
Yeah.
on the IMDb right now.
I don't think you're.
It's
I don't think you're.
Murderbot from Legend. Oh,
You're not
sorry,
reading
guys.
it correctly.
Sorry,
She puts
It's
in
okay.
her
I apologize.
IMDb bio, she
Yes.
puts a bunch of other films that of people she worked with. She's like, I
Yes.
worked with
My B.
I worked with Felissa Rose, who was in Sleepaway Camp. just so people who quick scan it like Meg just did go, oh, Sleepaway Camp Chopping Mall. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
She
Yes.
grifted you pretty
called
good.
me out for that. That's exactly what I did.
Well,
So,
no, because it happened
that's
to me
fine.
too. Because I quick read it because I
Yeah.
was like, "Where's this woman from?" Because I don't recognize her from adult film. I don't think she does adult films, really, as far as I know.
No, I was thinking of the. I was thinking of one
She's
of the
a
other
rising star.
women.
I think Becky LeBeau.
Yeah.
She's done some. Like I don't think she's done adult films.
She was like a
Playboy.
I think she was like
Yeah,
a Playboy.
Playboy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think she was like a Playboy playmate at
That's
some
fine.
point.
Either way,
But
she might be in a movie called Murder Size. That sounds kind of fun.
Yeah.
Reminds
that
me
actually
of-
just came out not that long ago.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty new one. I would say, and listen, I'm going out on a limb here. August Kiss seems to have gone to great lengths on the internet to not have her age.
Oh
out
yeah.
there. I'm just curious, but it does. I was just curious to look. Not that it's any of my business how old she is, but I'm just
No.
curious. And she has gone to great lengths to assure that is not on the internet very
well,
readily.
age does not do well for women in Hollywood. So
No,
let's,
I get it.
We'll give her a pass. Anywho, I more so want to talk in a hilarious manner about this scene because I just find it so funny that we probably spent 3 minutes watching her use like a weird scanner thing to go all around her body, and I think that's where the budget went. Genuinely, like, okay, we're gonna give you this at least 35 minutes of pure dog shit. But hey, guys, wait for the boobs and the full frontal. You know, you're gonna love it. That was the pitch. That was the fucking pitch.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you what, everybody who's listening to this, I was mad at first about the $7, but you get the full frontal in this movie, right? And then you get all the other full moon features.
Mhm.
You have to pay almost $10 for August Kiss OnlyFans. So you know
No
what? This is a
shit.
deal. This is a deal.
That's a hot deal. That is a hot deal.
Yeah, you get full frontal and full moon.
Yeah.
You know,
And full moon and a full
all
moon
around.
feature. And she also does
Yeah.
the booba lantern. So that's pretty great. That's a great
There you go.
Booba
booba lantern because she puts both of the lights up to her boobs and then you can see all the way
she
through
does.
them.
She does do that.
Mhm.
It's pretty solid. Pretty solid.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty
Anyway,
solid.
so
This movie's a deal.
grandfather sends one of his men and the two Marys out to find the sentient AI Raquel. And this whole thing is just like weird and funny. It's like they're useless. There's like the trumpet saves the day, quote unquote. The trumpet basically has some effect the way they make it play out. Like it basically inhibits her from doing anything, which then the military man who goes with the Marys ends up shooting Raquel in the head multiple times. But hey, guys, guess what? Kel ain't dead. I will make a point. He did say she's leaving a trail of carnage. That was that was a good line to me. Just the way he said it too. So, and also, Raquel comes up with a catchphrase in one of her kills. I'm just like pointing out a couple key things because the movie's over at this point. She comes up with a catchphrase for herself, and I think it's gonna.
You're deleted.
You've been deleted. So, guys, that's
I think it's
movie.
gonna catch on.
Raquel,
it's got legs.
Raquel then comes back to life at the last minute. So, dun dun dun. There's probably gonna be another one. Don't watch it. And we will all move on from this horrible experience.
Yeah, and don't watch this one.
No, I mean, unless you're bored or like really high or really just fucked up and you just want to have fun with friends, you could make fun of it. It's a great movie to make fun of.
Well, that was my point. Is like, listen, you know me, I will watch goddamn anything. Listen, I've been known to sit through the entirety of Clown NATO, but I'm just saying. If you are watching this, that means you likely paid at least for 1 month of Full Moon feature streaming service. And if that is the case, you got a lot of movies to watch before this. So there are plenty of genuinely enjoyable movies from Full Moon features. This is going to fall pretty damn far down that list.
Yeah. Yeah. This is crazy.
This is a big stinker.
Yeah. I think, and it kind of just feels like a trap to get people to pay. And then,
wait, how is it a trap? Like just because it's
new? Yeah, just because it's new. Yeah. That's all. Because it's new and it has Jim Wynorski's name on it, and that's all it is. Yeah, I think it was just a quick grab because I don't know, maybe they don't have anything else coming out in 2023, or at least not for until the end of the year. But this is a quick a biannual movie to get people to subscribe. Yeah,
it's kind of like I feel like the adult film industry. It's like just put out a movie, something every day or every month, and you'll also they have the quantity of quality factor.
It also might have been a thing. I don't know how long you guys stayed in the credits, but they had a tag in the credits of apparently this is film number 329 put out by Full Moon Features. So
lower than I would have thought, to be honest with you.
I really want to find movie 69 and see what they do in the credits there.
But I mean, maybe they have some sort of schedule where they're like trying to make 350 something special or 400 something special. I don't know. I don't know. It's a long way away though.
It is.
They're just racing.
I'm so tired of talking about this movie, guys. Thank you so much for bestowing it upon me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Almost killed myself over it.
I almost killed myself. It's
okay. Let's not
good.
Joke about suicide. There's a lot of death on this episode. We need to put an asterisk somewhere.
It has gotten. Listen, it's Easter weekend. Everyone's got death on the brain. All right, now we got that pile of hot fucking garbage behind us. Let's get into a little flick from the year of our Lord 1973. We're talking about Westworld, written and directed by I would say Jim Wynorski's contemporary, Mr. Michael Crichton. For those of you who don't know, Michael Crichton is I would say probably one of the greatest writers, at least speculative fiction, sci-fi-ish type of writers of the century. The late Michael Crichton. I think he died a while ago, didn't he? It was like
2008 or so.
Oh, it wasn't as long. It wasn't as long back as I thought. I thought it was like in the late 90s. But in any case, he's certainly best known as a writer. His most notable work, I would say, probably Jurassic Park. I mean, that's probably what the largest number of people know him for. But that's
news to me. But that's also really cool that the same person who did this film did that. So
yeah, he's an author. And he's aside from, I think a lot of people really, put him up there, at least for a period of time, certainly not in terms of longevity or maybe even, how prolific he is. But, a lot of people put him in the same, conversation as Stephen King and stuff like that in terms of their favorite, genre fiction authors.
He was definitely a writer I grew up with because I started reading him after Jurassic Park came out, but like I read Jurassic Park, Adrenaline Strain, Congo, like I read everything. But even now, I was kind of like, I didn't go far back enough because I was kind of like surprised to discover that he got his start doing under a different writer's name. He got to start doing like hard-boiled crime fiction. Like I didn't read those. I didn't know that
either until I dug into it a little bit. But yeah, he's got a really interesting. And then it's so wild to, you know, obviously start out with that sort of things and, you know, be this kind of genre author and then start to write, you know, films and direct films. And you know,
I feel like I want a documentary on this man because I'm very curious about it.
Oh, he is.
It sounds like a very interesting
passed away, or you know, he was in his, I want to say like his early 60s or something like that. When he passed away.
He was 42, or he was born in 1942.
Yeah,
so.
He was only 66 when he died.
Yeah,
because it was, I think it was like a sudden heart attack or something. It was something unexpected because like he still had like 3 more books that were published after his death, and you know, he like it just like it was shocking just because, you know, he had like this big grand career and everybody expected more out of him because he didn't stop working.
Yeah. But Jim Wynorski's still kicking, you know. The world's weird.
Now I'm just kind of sad. I like this guy. Like now, just like I too fair. Didn't look up, but I like learning this. Seems like a dope dude. I love this movie too. By the way.
And he directed. You know, he's definitely well known for writing things. You know, this movie he did write and direct.
Right.
But like Jurassic Park, he wrote the screenplay. Well, he wrote the book, and I believe he wrote the screenplay. He did not direct it, obviously. But like, you know, he wrote Twister. And then he eventually was the writer creator of ER, which is one of the most, you know, famous, you know, TV series of all time. So
he kind of looks like Stephen Collins from Seventh Heaven. Like he has those like,
please don't put that evil on him.
Yeah, but except for that guy's a pederast.
No. I mean, like he looks kind of like that. I'm gonna be like this Midwestern like holy dad kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, just kind of like creepily
I didn't know
handsome
that
in a weird way.
I also didn't know the guy was like a Geppetto kind of guy. So I'm sorry.
Isn't the guy from the dad from Seventh Heaven he was like a
he was a monster.
Man.
He was a monster.
God. I learn new things every day. Oh, God. Okay. Anywho, sorry for the comparison, but he literally, I saw his picture. I'm like, wow, I kind of.
He does have like unassuming white guy face, is what he has.
That's good. Unassuming white guy face.
You're guilty of this.
Yeah, he has unassuming white guy face. But like, and that's kind of like. That's why I find Westworld so interesting. Like even before we get into the movie, is like it mixes pretty much all of his favorite things from all of his other kind of work. Is because he started as a writer while he was going to Harvard Medical School.
Yeah.
So like he has this background in medicine, which like comes out in ER obviously, and the Andromeda strain, which you see like there's mentions of virus in Westworld, and there's obviously like medical school stuff of like when they're repairing the robots.
Oh yeah, that feels like it might as well be like a medical studio in like a teaching hospital or something, you know.
And then I totally just equated it to Operation, you know, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Replace the gyroscope. Oop, hit the sides, buzz. Then there's the theme park stuff that he also does in Jurassic Park, and then there's like, you know, he loves like old school movies, which is another thing that comes up a lot because like he went on to direct The Great Train Robbery, which was based off another novel he did.
That was his book
with Sean Connery. Like that's it's fucking. He had a crazy fucking career.
Man, I just want this guy to be my dad. You know, I don't want to replace my dad, but I just want him
You'd
to
be rich as hell if he was.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. This dude's books are still probably like bestsellers.
Just feel like I would just be so inspired. Like, oh my God. I need to like read my dad's books. I don't know. He just seems like such a cool guy, guys. I just don't know, whatever. Anywho, maybe I have daddy issues, whatever.
No. Anyway, so yeah, Michael Crichton, all of our daddies. You know, he's fantastic. He's one of my favorite authors, and you know, there's still so many things. Like he's one of those. You know, some of his works are like. Are big commitments, right? These are not short stories, right? But there's a lot. I mean, he's like I said, legendary author. This particular movie he wrote and directed, and it's got a fantastic cast. I'll just throw out a couple of them there that you'll definitely recognize, or favorites of mine. I'm a huge fan of character actors and stuff like that, but it stars Richard Benjamin, who is probably the least well known of the ones I'm going to mention. He hasn't been in as much, but if you love 70s films as much as I do, you will absolutely recognize him. But it's probably something you saw like in passing. He plays a certain type.
He kind of looks like a lizard, He's like very like classically good looking, but kind of too skinny and thin necked to be like a real star. You know what I mean? It's kind of interesting, but he would not survive today is what you're saying.
No. Too thin necked. He's too wafy.
But
too much character, if you will.
You know who I saw though? He basically looks like Adam Scott with a mustache, especially in this movie.
He does look like Adam Scott. Holy shit.
That's a good point. Again, but Adam Scott also has a lot of character. So, all right.
Yeah. He's got the character, but Adam Scott's kind of wafy too.
That's true. Holy shit. I never noticed he looks so fucking much like Adam Scott. That's a great call. And then you have the more kind of classic, what you'd expect of like a hero type of big bad guy, cool guy actor from this era, which is James Brolin, who is immediately recognizable to genre fans as the Amityville Horror, probably most notably. But we just talk about Capricorn 1 too? I feel like I mentioned that on a recent episode. I love that.
You mentioned it, I believe.
Yeah,
we didn't talk about it at length.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that movie, God, it's fucking great. And then Yul Brynner, man, I fucking love Yul Brynner. He's so weird. He's so creepy. The Magnificent Seven. The Ten Commandments. He played Ramses in the Ten Commandments, which I watched so many fucking times as a kid. Some Sweet Harryhausen creatures in that. The King and I. He's just in so much good stuff. So those are kind of the main character. Really, the most of the story revolves around James Brolin, who plays John, and Richard Benjamin, who plays Peter. It really starts out. Norman Bartold actually plays a really cool character, as does Dick Van Patten. I love me some Dick Van Patten. You love to see him pop up and do like he almost was a. He added some levity, but he was more of a bumbling character. But he, people would know him most notably from Spaceballs. He plays the Princess, the King, Princess, what's her name? Vespa?
Yeah, Vespa?
Vespa, not Vespa. Yeah, Princess Vespa's dad, the King. She plays in that. So the guy, when they're sucking the oxygen off the planet and all that stuff. Robin Hood, Men in Tights, Soylent Green, like he's in. You'd recognize him immediately. But he plays a small part. But in any case, so kind of just jumping into the honestly, the IMDb synopsis is pretty darn good on this. So I'll read it. It's very concise. A robot malfunction creates havoc and terror for unsuspecting vacationers at a futuristic adult-themed amusement park. And when you hear adult-themed, you think like it's a crazy, fuckfest amusement park, and it kind of is, but it's like disguised as not right. So
we know Miss Gardner for sure got railed. She was all about it. She was just, and this was a really great actually kind of explanation at the beginning. Or exposition rather at the beginning, was they kind of had it as like this commercial. And it was talking about, and it was really concise. It's like 3 minutes and you have all you need to know basically, which is there's this, kind of playground of the very super wealthy where they go, to this either Westworld, medieval world, or Roman world, and you are like transported back to this era in time. You essentially, cosplay, all these like kind of deranged rich fucks that are very like unhappy and privileged in their life. They're just like so desperate to escape their lives. They go,
essentially have this incredibly elaborate cosplay that's facilitated by this almost Truman Show-esque type of, background cast that includes a ton of robots. Of dang old cyborg kind of thing. Not cyborgs, because they're not human at all. They are straight up robots, but have some degree of, quite advanced AI. But they're supposed to be, it's not that situation where it's AI that evolves and becomes like self-aware, and it's like this singularity type of thing, which you actually think is going to be the case. It's more like the robots go wild, and rampage and miss, it
almost seems like the updates, if you will, like kind of allow them like this, like when they come back and get synced, they somehow find like there's like loopholes. It's like more like the technology itself gets a little loose, or the robots, like it seems smarter. I don't know.
Yeah, I actually, it's weird. It's not really like scanners, or screamers rather, which is Steve's movie we'll get to, where it is more like the robots learn and evolve.
Yeah.
This is less that and more just like design flaws and malfunctions.
Yeah, it's design flaws and malfunctions, and it like, again, it comes up specifically mentioned as like a virus. And because they say it starts in like Roman world and then it propagates to the other worlds, and what happens is like it just starts removing the safeguards that they have in place, because like the whole thing is like you're not supposed to be able to be hurt, but you can do whatever you want. So like you can fuck whatever you want, you can shoot whatever you want, or stab whatever you want in these worlds. Which is, like,
and the AI on that other end has the safeguards that are like whatever they shoot, it cannot harm, or like has a temperature sensor,
right?
If you will, like, you know what I mean? So that makes sense too, because like it definitely, there's no sentient feeling, but it almost feels like there is this revenge element to it. You know what I mean? Like they still somehow in their like, RAM or memory or whatever, like still remember this, because like they're still.
Well, I think you're talking about the gunslinger, right?
Sure. Yeah, like he's going back to James Woolen and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the idea is that he is a character that has been built to be aggressive and confrontational, and essentially just get shot by guests. The whole thing, a big part of this experience that people are paying for is, especially in like Westworld, is all about people wanting to live out their fantasies of being like an old West, desperado, gunslinger, sheriff, or something like that.
But still have control and like be like a badass of it too. You know what I mean?
They want to act out these violent fantasies that they saw in like Western movies as kids, basically. Even so much so as, John and Peter, when they're kind of initially, which, I've seen this movie. I think it's probably the third time I've seen this movie, and I didn't make a note of it. Are we to assume that John and Peter have met for the first time on this?
No,
they're
friends
already,
right?
They either work together is kind of the vibe I got.
But they never really explain it, though.
I was going to say, they don't explain it, but they don't have to. But like, there is just a little bit of dialogue they have together about Peter's wife, who's divorced him. And so it's assumed that James Brolin is taking Peter on this vacation to help him forget about like the divorce and everything and just blow off steam.
It's been six months since his divorce or whatever. And but it starts out in the beginning. You get that context later, right? That's a good call.
Right.
When they're in there and they are staying like in the same place, but like earlier when they're on the plane, like when they're, because John has been there, right? He has visited, an untold number of times. He knows the ropes. He knows what to expect. And Peter is very nervous but excited, and he's asking him a lot of questions about like, are they going to give me a gun? Like, do I shoot people? And he's like really talking about like how he wants to look and really, embody this part of this like gunslinger type of, persona. And he's set up to be this very like uptight, almost not meek, but in comparison to, the kind of cool, calculated John, like Peter's like the neurotic one, So
I get the impression that they like work together, but also I want to make up a scenario in my head that John like fucked that guy's wife, and that's actually he's just trying to not make up for it by taking him and like, oh, you should totally do this.
Likely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
here's a vacation. Sorry, I cucked you.
This is a cuckcation.
Yeah,
this is
cuckcation.
my apology.
It's called Cuck World, guys.
Yeah.
Get used to it.
But
it just also, I love the one thing I kind of love in this hovercraft scene is like you get a little more exposition about like the park itself, and I believe it's Dick Van Patten's character is sitting next to his wife, and like it seems like they're on vacation together, but they're going to.
Is it Norman Bartold? I feel like, right?
Yeah.
It's not his wife. It's not Peter's wife.
No, not Peter. No. But you're right, Meg. You're right, Meg. Though it is Norman Bartold. But yeah, like you have this. His name, but you have this couple sitting together on the hovercraft,
right?
And like, the Norman Bartold character is going to medieval world, and his wife is going to Roman world, and just like exactly in the explanation of Roman world, it's explained much more clearly that Roman world is about getting it in.
It's about drinking your face off and fucking. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
It's stuffed olives and stuffing yourself.
And just just the look he gives her when he realizes that, like, we're taking separate vacations, sort of, and she's going to go get, like, he just wants to be like a little night guy and have a night guy fun time, and she wants to get it in.
Yes.
You know what? I don't think he doesn't know that he would, like, I think he still has that, like, you know, like masculine mentality. Like, he knows he's going to go be a king of sorts, but it still is like a realization that his wife, who he in theory at that time and place has control over, is about to get fucked up and down and sideways. He's like, oh shit.
He thought
I don't want that. I'm the only one who's allowed to fuck people.
Yeah, only I can fuck. He thought she was going to go chill in like some bass and maybe have some grapes fed to her by a robot. He didn't know she was going to be 3 holes sealed tight by
gladiators. They fucking know.
Gladiator robots were going to make her airtight. He did not count for that.
Did not.
But she knew. She knows what's happening.
The Roman world reminds me of like the best sex toy store that you would find. Like that's just what you would find in the Roman world in modern. Like if this was remade as far as like a movie, not the show, obviously, and we had the Roman world, that's what I would expect. Is like, we have a whole wall of all these sex toys you can use because we know that's what you want and you need.
Yeah,
that's what you're here for, guys.
The Roman world would actually
here to. Oh, the robots would be the sex toys. Oh my god.
Yeah.
They would have like interchangeable dicks and like things. Oh man. I want to go there.
If you've ever seen the show Spartacus, that's actually what it would be. Like the show Spartacus rules, but it's also full of huge dicks that you see sometimes. So,
all right,
that you see sometimes.
Yeah. But you also see Lucy Lawless naked, and that's great.
Hey, that's all right.
Yeah,
I can get down with that.
Xena.
Hells yes.
Yeah, I just went and bought a bunch of those heart pendants that she sold at K Jewelers or whatever. Just like, you remember that? Remember when she?
Yeah,
no, I don't.
Remember when she did K Jewelers commercials for a long time?
I don't.
Anyway, so the one thing they do talk about like later, and I'll mention this now because it does obviously come back around, is this idea that they haven't perfected. So these robots look identical to humans, right? Completely identical in their mannerisms and everything. Like, they might lack a little bit of personality in some instances, but for the most part, they are completely indistinguishable for humans. And when they get there, they get them all dressed up. They basically send them into a room and go, hey, choose your favorite cowboy outfit. And they choose it and give them guns and all that stuff. And then they just, release them into Westworld. They quickly start to realize, it's impossible to distinguish a human from a robot. And except for if you look at their hands, they have not perfected the hand yet. That's what they say. And they almost have these like little weird, almost like gasket kind of looking things between like their knuckles. And it, you can see the hands aren't, entirely.
It almost felt like it happened too fast. Like I was trying to, again, literally was just like either my TV was like big enough to like see it. I just was like, I was expecting like some crazy deformities that would be so like we got lobster hands or something. You know what I mean? Like that's what I expected.
Yeah. No, it's just like it's a relatively subtle thing that like unless you were looking for, you probably wouldn't notice it, or maybe if you're like shaking somebody's hand, you would notice. But
you definitely feel different getting a hand job.
It would feel weird. It would be almost ribbed for your pleasure.
They don't do the robots. Actually, in the Roman world, the hands work really well.
Yeah, all right. Like I said, they're ribbed. They're ribbed for your pleasure.
Exactly.
Those little gaskets. Any case, they really it's weird. Like the different it's kind of the Roman world seems to be a little bit more about like luxury and pampering and this kind of like. Hedonistic experience, whereas the Westworld is really more about like this authentic frontier experience and of course fucking and violence and all the things that come along with it. But so you got these kind of different crowds here, but I always find this type of setup where it feels very I want to say it's a classic sci-fi trope, but there are definitely Twilight Zone and Outer Limit episodes that give me similar vibes where I find this type of setup that, if you were flipping through this channel, I guess is the way I put it. If you were flipping through the channels or whatever, and you know anything about this movie, you'd look at it and just be like, oh, for the most part, certainly midway through the movie, it just appears to be like a fairly normal Western, like on the surface. But then, when you understand the context, now you as a viewer are looking at everything through very different lenses, even if nothing visually on the screen has changed. You know what I mean? And I always appreciate that if a movie can do that to me, of like face value, nothing special, but the context of the story, and all of a sudden what is on screen, even if it is the exact same image, you're looking at it through very different lenses now.
And that was actually something I was reading about, of like in the filming of the movie. Creighton was very specific about making sure all of these worlds, like when he's filming them, that they all just felt like the old school movies, that it just looks like an old Western, or it looks like, an old kind of stagey medieval castle. Like there's no difference between this and like a Robin Hood movie,
No, the way they shoot it is exactly the same. And you even get scenes like an extended bar fight scene where, obviously the participants, and you don't know how many of them are quote unquote guests and how many of them are robots, but, John and Peter are, fighting it out in this like old West kind of slapsticky saloon brawl. And like I said, it is shot even with the like little comic relief scenes. Like you really have to suspend your disbelief a little bit, because you're like, what's to stop them from just going like, I get a pee, bye, and walking away. You know what I mean? Like it's just a weird
time out. Time out.
Ow, I got a splinter. That sort of thing. But it is just it is shot like they want the characters to literally be in an Old West movie.
Yeah, and I think they do a good job too, like giving us as the viewer like a little insight, because there is a little bit of control that we get to see, where at least early on versus later when things start going a little awry, of like when they're like simulate the bar fight, like let's go, like
you see the people flash back and forth from behind the scenes. The people, the puppeteers, if you will, of
I thought that was
almost
Jurassic
cool. Park like.
Honestly, I thought that was like a cool integration. Like this movie, I feel like overall just felt really seamless in a lot of ways, of like from one thing to the other, to the understanding. In like, I obviously gave it a time and place asterisk for myself of like, certain things where you're like, oh, that's like weird, but you're like, oh no, this is just how they acted at that point. But
and it's very like time and I mean, I guess it's a testament to the writing, is like, if you think too much about this whole premise, it falls apart at the seams very quickly. Like, how do more people not get hurt? How do people not drink themselves to death? How do people not,
how does one guess, how does one, like, because they have the restrictions on the guns, but like, how does one guess not sexually harass another?
Or punch another, or stab another, you know what I mean? Or hack another one's head off with an axe, So if you really think about that, the premise too much, it falls apart, but you never really find yourself doing that too much in the movie. And like I said, I think it's really a testament to the writing.
It is. I think it's intriguing enough that you don't start picking at it. I think if it was like slower or felt more boring, or like there wasn't like an entertainment factor, you'd literally start picking it apart for sure.
Yeah. And I think it's also kind of like, so the one thing about this is like, so Jurassic Park was based on a novel that he had written, but this was just straight up a screenplay he wrote. So he wrote specific.
Yeah, this is not based on a novel.
It was later novelized afterwards. And it might not even have been novelized by him. It might have been like one of those ghost writer things where like, okay, now turn the screenplay into a book to entertain, to sell. But like, so he is, as a writer, he is very, very technical, and he does a lot of research and a lot of shit like that in his novels. It, not to say that he like threw this together, but like, because there are these seams, it definitely feels much more like he didn't spend as much time thinking about how things could fall apart. So he just, I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just like he definitely wrote it more. He wrote it more as a movie.
I have a question though too, related to that, is that like, I'm curious. I don't think any of us have read the book, but I'm curious if like it felt more like put together in the book and it just was like a translation issue with
that's like, what I was going to say. I don't think it's that. In my mind, I haven't dug into this too deep, but I would be surprised if it wasn't one of these things where like, obviously he wrote this screenplay, directed this movie. He hasn't directed a lot of movies. So I get the feeling this is like a story that he had in his head that he knew maybe was too weak of a premise to make a novel, but squeezed into, an hour and a half runtime movie with flashy imagery and that sort of thing. You could hide a lot with kind of movie magic that would not beg the, we would say like the runtime of a book is way longer than the runtime of a movie, so if you're taking a novel, that's already written and putting it, to a screenplay, you have to cut an enormous amount out. In this case, maybe he thought like the premise isn't necessarily strong enough to build out an entire novel, but boy, this would be a cool movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So apparently like the script and the original film were even longer, and like he did cut down a lot to try to make it more entertaining, so it didn't come off as novelly. Because I mean, like,
and it's probably convoluted in the sci-fi arena of like, now we got to explain this, and we got to explain that. Like, I could really see him being obviously a very technically minded writer, really feeling like he has to fill in all those gaps where it doesn't feel, they don't feel missing in this movie.
No, they don't. And it's just like, that's one of the things, like when you read the original Jurassic Park novel, or especially the Andromeda Strain, I remember that being so technically like written. But like, it's still entertaining. It's just like, it's very, very deep in the minutia of all that stuff that like you can't put on screen because you'll kill your audience. And I think maybe even the Andromeda Strain movie gets a lot of flack for being boring, because it kind of is. You have just like this internal lab drama. But
that's the thing is like, I've honestly, I've never read that book, but I've watched the movie, and I can imagine the book being dense.
Yeah. I enjoyed it, but I was a dork kid, so fuck it. But I think there was a lot of things that were cut from this film, but also like, I guess my one big criticism is this movie isn't, and maybe it's because it's the time, or because it's Crichton's first film really, or just however many things going into it. This movie isn't as sexy as it could be.
No, it's not. It does feel a little tame, because this could be real. It could be real grimy, and there's some of it.
I mean, you get a little bit of it, but I think like thinking of a time and place, because like I hear you, and it totally could, is that like if Crichton was also like controlling this, he may not have felt like again, the time. This was the 70s.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know if he into like the peace love thing, like, you know
I
what I
don't know.
mean? I think that could have impacted that.
No, I mean, I think it's more like his bread and butter is as an author. You know,
Right.
he made his millions and millions of dollars as an author.
Because that'd be my other concise, like saying, is he's an author. Like, you know,
well, you can also put a lot in a book and get away with it.
Mhm.
You know, like, look, let's use the example of Stephen King. Like, if you've ever read It, first of all, it's insanely long. Second of all, there's a child gangbang scene. That's pretty rough. They didn't put that in the movie because I'm sure Stephen King was like, yeah, I can hide that in this book. And a book is a very intimate, almost, you know, one-on-one experience with the author and the reader. You know, but I imagine he didn't do a whole lot of public readings of it for that reason. But a movie, you know, everyone's watching it together, looking at each other uncomfortable, going, "Why'd this guy do this?" You know,
even just like, and this came up, like, I was thinking about it, but like, I don't know why, but I think it's because like I saw a Cujo meme or something. And like there was extended written paragraphs of Stephen King explaining how a dude's sheets were stiff with cum from all the jacking off he does on them. That's not something you can put in Cujo the movie. Like, who the fuck who would film that?
Yeah, and I think in this sign, like, you know, 1973, and like he's not Michael Crichton yet. I mean, he is. Don't get me wrong. Like, you know, he's had some hits he's always really established and all that stuff, but like his biggest hits hadn't hit yet by 73. So I imagine, you know, he's like, hey, I'm not going to make a really raunchy rendition of, you know, how society goes fucking crazy and, you know, does horrible things to robots when they went, because that is the subtext. And I kind of like that it is a little hidden in the subtext. It's like this idea that this is all disguised as this very like civil kind of theme park, but it's actually just this place where all these like people, especially like in our instance where, you know, we're following around these like man children who are like, really all they came here to do is just act out these violent fantasies without any like actual risk or repercussions.
It's like the theory of like you know, like the idea of excess. And like I think like I actually, as we were talking about this just now, I thought of like how influential this film could have been on like other films, especially even today, of like the idea of excess, of like, what do you do when you just have too much and there's no control points? And then what goes awry when that also happens when you don't have when
you give people, you know, essentially unlimited money, like they'll just go and that's what this would be in real life.
Yeah.
If this existed, there would just be people who live there all the time, billionaires who can, you know, because they say it's like it costs $1,000 a day, which in 1973, you know, is a tremendous amount of money. Now it's like people spend that to go to Disney World and shit. But like not $1,000. I mean, you get
it's pretty close.
Like, yeah. So like it's a big you know, back then you would have still had these incredibly wealthy people who could have just essentially lived there if they wanted to. But it did definitely, coincidentally, talking about Disney World, like it got me thinking about how like the Venn diagram of people who would be really into Westworld if it really existed, and like the really obsessed Disney adults, that is just a circle. I mean, they are cut from the same cloth. But you know, a couple of things, you know, I wrote down lessons learned about this movie. One, Old West sex, not that hot. To be honest with you, not it's that
lift
hot.
up the skirt. You're just like, you don't see anything. You know, I mean, I guess you had like the bustier thing. You had tits.
Well, it's just like, come on up. Let's go upstairs, big boy. I like you. Yeah. And then you go up there, and then
you don't like being called big boy.
Yeah, well, no, because then I think of Big Boy from Dick Tracy. You like walnuts? Love them. Go for the liver. But Peter, I think it comes down to the fact that Peter just like does not fuck.
Yeah.
You know, Peter ain't good. He doesn't fuck good.
He definitely did not fuck even when he was in his marriage, which is why his marriage
it didn't seem like
I mean?
it. And like, I just couldn't stop thinking of like, how much accountant and lawyer cum is just filling up that robot. Like that robot is up to its eyes just filled with accountant cum.
I had one thought when we were talking about, I can't remember exactly what we were talking about, but I was just like going to make a joke about STDs with these robots because I'm like, there has to be some cleaning protocol.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, there has to be. They practically they shoot them all to death every night.
What would be the phrasing for like robot STDs? Like, STD testing.
Mm-hmm. Well, you don't have to test them because there's no flesh involved. But I would say that cleaning them out, it would be like, it would be like a cum flush. Like get the cum flusher 5,000 out, and it's just like a fucking garden hose that they jam up its ass and blow all the shit out of its puss.
I mean, can you imagine?
They stick it in its mouth. Actually, they stick a garden hose in its mouth, and then just till all the water blasts out all its other holes. It's not a glamorous process.
I couldn't imagine in the 70s either that like the sex toy or like, the sex robot market would have been that progressive. So it probably was still a little rough.
It's standard CIP. Meg, you're a brewer. It's standard CIP procedure.
No, I'm talking about that. I'm talking about the actual sex that would happen.
I thought you meant the cleaning of it.
No.
Standard CIP procedure. You got to do the acid once every 6 weeks so the cum stone doesn't build up.
Okay, I have this right here. Okay. You see this?
No, we don't. Nobody knows what that is.
CIB ball.
Nobody sees it, Meg.
Was that an ice cream scoop?
I'm
what do you have there?
You guys this. Okay, I am holding up a CIP ball for a fermenter, and this is basically what would go up into the robot.
You guys have this all wrong. You're so off base.
Okay, all right, tell us. Straighten us out.
It's not water that goes in because we see water go into the machine and it destroys it. So it's not water. They get a glycol flush.
Oh, glycol to keep everything cool.
They keep everything cool, and they flush everything with glycol. 2, these genitals have to be modular, so they're taking them off, cleaning them separately, letting them soak.
Yes. Put them in the dishwasher.
Put them in the washer. Put them in the acid. That's why in the lab scene there's all that acid.
Understands. Steve gets it.
They just have a bucket of star sand. And they just
but you don't think they would shove that thing? Oh no,
it's a bucket. It's a bucket of pussies and dicks in star sand.
I just want to think that they stuff that.
It's a Home Depot. It's one of those orange Home Depot buckets full of star sand and dicks.
Just dicks and pussies and buttholes all getting the clean out. But the machine's got to go back out in the town, so they just modular. They switch them out.
Oh my god, do you think there are like different sizes and like feels and they just change the day to give a different experience, so it's like different?
Yeah.
Oh my god, guys.
Yeah, I really do. I really think
and like
that.
because
what about the robot dicks?
Yeah, they can switch them out too. Because here's the thing. Here's the other thing.
Oh man,
when we're watching it,
so much opportunity.
I know,
here.
but when we're watching this, we get the flashes to the guys behind the scenes, and they're monitoring customer happiness and satisfaction. So, like, if a customer is like, "Ooh, that's too big," they'll switch it out so it's smaller later, or they say, "I need more grip." They'll switch out for the real super gripper.
The big, the kung fu grip.
Yep.
Yeah.
No pubes.
Sure.
Take the merkins off.
I would say though that the guys would probably go back even if there was like something weird, but the girls probably wouldn't. If they were like, it's too big or too small, they'd be like, "Oh, find me the next robot."
Just gotta find another robot.
I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to speak generalized. I'm just saying, like, I think we'd be less inclined to be like, "Okay, get a second chance." We'd be like, "No, give me the next robot."
Yeah, you're not worried about feelings here. They're damn robots.
No. But I think the guys would still be like, "Oh no, I'd still go back to that same."
The guys want the same robot.
The guys would for sure go with the same robot. I'm just saying the women probably wouldn't.
Yeah, because they still want to bust on the same face, but
for sure.
But like the women don't care because they're like they don't care about busting on the same face or not. They just want the appliance to fit correctly.
We're getting off the rails with this.
We are.
But I'm just saying, I don't know how much you still want to go through this movie, Brent. It is a great movie. I mean,
I do want to go through it, but I'm really struggling to go through it.
High level is great because this movie was genuinely great. Yeah. I will watch this movie again.
I do want to ask you this.
Okay.
If you guys had to choose your own, like, Westworld, it doesn't have to be Westworld, but your own world to go to and have robots and do whatever the fuck you want. What is your what is your world? I wrote down 2 that I would want to do. Right. My first one is like a Blade Runner. That would be fucking sick. Do like a futuristic Blade Runner situation. You're a damn old, fucking futuristic bounty hunter or some shit. Or Victorian supernatural detective.
Okay.
Like if you're like a
Holmes,
like a Holmes type of character, but you're you're tracking down a dang old vampire or something like that.
Yeah.
I
but
think
then you're
in my
also
mind,
probably fucking the vampire.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so I think in my mind, I'm creating like a Scandinavian world because they're just always generally happy and like
you're just fucking all different types of hair. Right now.
Yeah,
You said yes. You said yes.
She was like, yes, yeah, of course.
Don't know, no, like mixed with almost this like Greek vibe of like, because I feel like in Scandinavia, like there's no real like major wars that we're going through. We're talking maybe Viking time or whatever. Actually, I'm gonna take this back. We're gonna go to Scandinavia. We're gonna go to Viking time. Yeah, I would definitely go to a Viking world, I think, but I would be like a shield maiden type thing. That'd be sick.
Gotcha. Okay, sweet.
I would do that.
That's very LARPing. Like you could probably accomplish pretty close to that in the real world now. Yeah. What about Steve? What's yours?
I think I came up with 2. One would be 70s detective world.
Oh, sick.
So I could just be like,
I like that.
Like you got a snub nose 38 and you're like putting in people's
I just
belly.
would
Like,
imagine you would be a white man with a fro.
I can't imagine Steve with a fro. His hair's laser straight.
I don't know why. I just imagine that you would look great with a fro.
I would not get a permanent. So,
but in the 70s, you totally would have.
Or Cyberpunk Wrestle World.
Ooh.
Oh hell yeah!
Because I'm looking to throw some suplexes in a bar. Like in like one of those grinding underground bars, but there's a bunch of neon. I want to throw some suplexes. Ooh, I like it. And then, get with some of the hot muscle ladies.
Hot muscle ladies. Hell yeah. See,
Steve
I like this.
Definitely wants like an Amazonian woman who could toss him around a little bit.
I want like a Stacy Keebler, and then,
Steve wants to
Tori Wilson.
deliver suplexes, and receive suplexes.
Yes. Deliver suplexes, receive moonsaults from Tori Wilson on my dick.
Yeah, listen, Boston crabs for everyone.
All
we
around.
Can cancel for any episode. It's gonna be this one.
Steve walks into the bar. He's smoking like a cigarette with like a blue light on the end of it. He flicks it, and he's like, "Round of Boston crabs for everyone." Oh man.
Oh my god.
This is like okay. So I'm gonna move through the rest of this pretty quick. But there's some great slow motion stunts. I really love the like I said, there's quite a bit of violence in this movie. With the shootings and people getting thrown out windows and shit like that. They get pretty quickly acclimated, especially Peter, to the violence. He's really nervous at first, and then he gets on board really quick. It's basically like Old West GTA meets Jurassic Park kind of thing. Like even so much so as like there are scenarios set up that feel like GTA missions. Like there's an escape mission that they just like is part of the park that you just kind of like, he gets in jail and then you blow up the side of the jail. It's just these like
But there's still this like
tropes.
no fucks given attitude. You're like, I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna go punch this bitch in the face.
There's no real risk.
Right.
Yeah. So
I was gonna say I love the gunslingers like Silver Eyes. I don't think I noticed it when he did it first, but I feel like even over time it became a little bit more, I'll use sentient and in a non-correct term, like when he becomes like a little more self-aware. I like loved that.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yul Brynner is just got that fucking steely stare.
There's no. It's like his eyes were literally like, I think
literally,
you
when they actually
you could kind of tell
silver.
when he was actually turning and getting more control. I feel like that became more aware. What was your question though?
So in this movie, so this is important, and this might play into the score ultimately here. So, you got to assume they don't come out and say it, but you got to assume the horses are robots.
Oh yeah,
right.
They show it.
If the snakes are robots, horses are robots.
They show it.
They show the horses.
Yeah, they show.
They took a horse back.
Yeah, they show horses on the tables a couple times.
Yeah.
That's true. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
So the horses are robots. We've established this.
Mm-hmm.
Does this affect my horse score? Because they're not real horses; they're robot horses.
I mean, it's the only movie that has a horse score.
That's true.
So, I mean,
I appreciate it. I mean, we basically get a Western, so giddy up.
Yeah,
okay,
that's true.
So
I appreciate your flexibility.
It would be like the same feeling I'd had if like there was like a bunch of dogs, and I'd be like, oh, I'd still cuddle that dog, even if it was an AI dog.
Even if it was a dang robot dog.
I would still I would still like be into
I'd still
horses.
pork that dog.
Yeah. What did you say? I missed that.
That's not even appropriate.
What did you just say? I missed it.
Oh my god! Oh, I just pork that dog. It was a bad joke. That was the joke. That's why it was funny. It was very inappropriate.
So inappropriate. Okay, horse.
It's a
score.
robot. I can say
Horse
that. We're talking about
actually,
fake
for
robots.
this one, I will. I'll give it. Okay, so I don't want to pull the whole untapped. I mean, I'll give it a 5 out of 5 for a horse score because we had a bunch of horses. It was a Westworld, and they did a good job at it. So
I appreciate that.
You'll get a 5 out of 5. You get 5 nays.
5 nays. Appreciate it. The one thing with this movie, I feel like ages really well, especially as like technology advances and we get all these stories about, powerful people doing fucking weird stuff. And like, I couldn't help but think about the fact that, if this was real, the whole place would just be overrun with fucking pedophile politicians and mega church leaders just plugging each other. That would be the whole thing. This would just be a place where like Joel Osteen goes to just murder people and
he would jack off on dead people.
Yeah. He would just do awful shit. He would like insist on getting the special treatment where you go backstage, like in the bunker, and like he wants to see them with their face off, He's fucking creepy as fuck.
He wants their face off, and then he would skull fuck the AI.
Yeah, like he wants like the fact that it was made for him, like that's what's getting him off, not that it's a pretend person.
Yeah, he would be insistent that they program more fear into the robots.
Yeah, for sure. He would want the robot to like really be scared.
I bet his live shows.
It's like a Gilles de Rais situation.
Half the
like
audience is AI.
That's true.
And he's already skull fucked all of them.
Literally 99.9% of them. Like the only reason he didn't that one is because they just made it today.
Right.
Like he hasn't even had time.
They were tricked.
Yeah.
Pause the show.
Yeah. So John gets bit by a snake. One of the fake snakes. It's a robot snake. It bites him. And all the scientists and people behind the scenes are bummed. They're like, "Oh shit, what's going on?" So this
I like how you described it, like they're bummed.
They're bummed. They're pretty bummed. Like shit's starting to unravel.
Yeah.
Steve had mentioned they're starting to like catch wind of this like trend, or they're seeing this pattern of how various robots are starting to like malfunction and all these things like across all 3 of the parks, like in this very predictable pattern.
My only reflection on this period that they kept coming back to when we were talking about this, and they were like, something's happening. I feel like today, if this is like a movie made today, it would be like a very chaotic situation that would be created. They seem alarmingly calm when they're like, this is happening. There's
no panic button.
It's a time and place thing.
Again,
the asterisk on it, but I feel like it's too calm.
Yeah. I think an interesting analog. I mean, obviously you can just watch the HBO series Westworld, and like there is like more panic and everything. There's a lot more drama in that compared to this, but I think a good analog is the cabin in the woods. With the way like all the backstage stuff is filmed on that, and just like there's a lot more character, and like it's very funny, and like these backstage engineers are they're like bland.
They could almost be robots themselves.
Yeah.
Like they almost are programmed.
AI making AI. Oh my God, I love it.
AI controlling AI. That's Inception level AI there.
Which is what you learn in Westworld because in the TV show.
Don't spoil it.
What the fuck? I've watched like 2 episodes, bitch.
Jeffrey Wright is one of the robots.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I haven't watched in a few years.
But anyway, so yeah, one thing I thought was kind of creepy, and this is when things start to get a little bit more dark. Is like there is that one dickhead on the plane who's in medieval world is trying to bang this young maiden, which is pretty creepy. But you're like, oh, it's a robot, but also it's still pretty creepy. And she just is like, fuck you, bro, and slaps him, and that is like obviously not what the robot's supposed to do, right? Mm-hmm. So they keep referring to it as the robot malfunctioned and it is refusing a guest seduction. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Something about that really, really rubs me the wrong way. I mean, obviously the idea is more like, I mean, they're not going to say like, hey, this is the, rape victim bot, that is essentially what it's programmed to do.
But that's like pretty much the whole idea of it. Like that. I think that's what I think. And I don't know if the show, Steve, maybe you can confirm. I think like there's seemingly more sentient characteristics where it's like there's like they're very aware that this is just like an abuse of power versus like this movie, which it just doesn't fully acknowledge that, where it's like, no, they're just robots. They're supposed to be doing this thing. They're sex robots. They are, again, gunslinger
robots. Yeah.
Like, so I don't think it takes it in full account, which us now watching it now, which is why I keep saying there's an asterisk with it, because you have to like think of the time place, because it makes us feel really uncomfortable. It made me feel uncomfortable in a lot of ways. I was just like, God, I'm just creeped out. Like I'm imagining he probably does the same thing to his assistant. Yada. Like I don't know. It's different time and place. No. It just is what it is for this movie, but I don't think it detracts from the story, because if you put yourself in that, like, okay, they're just robots and this is what it was designed to do, like makes you feel a little less bad. Maybe, I don't know. I can compartmentalize things.
Yeah, I mean that's why I was saying though about like how this movie isn't as sexy as it could be. Not that I'm like talking about how like there could be like more sexual assault or anything. It's just like it doesn't reach into the levels of depravity that humanity would commit when the guardrails are taken off.
Oh yeah, people would be like I said. Joel Osteen would be up there, cutting off fucking robots' heads and fucking their neck stumps and just doing all kind of wild shit. You know?
He would go full Caligula in Roman world.
Yeah, he would be. Yeah, he would what they call in Roman world wiling out. That's what he would.
I'm just imagining when you guys said that, I was like Joel Osteen like teabagging someone's neck that he just decapitated. I think he would do that.
He would he would fuck a horse. He would fuck a robo horse.
He'd be fucking a robo horse.
Oh man, I don't even think it wasn't even a robo horse. He would fuck a real horse.
If you guys, comedy podcast, but if you don't think Joel Osteen has literally fucked a horse, you're an idiot. Allegedly, comedy podcast. But anyway,
he totally did.
Yeah. The big turd guy, who's the robot resisted his seduction or whatever, which is a pretty piss poor seduction, to be honest with you. Anyway, he gets shish kebabbed in medieval world, and
he probably doesn't even know where the clitoris is. Like that's the problem here. It's also the 70s. They don't understand.
Also, do robots, like, I understand they're anatomically correct and all that, but like.
They probably don't. I'm going to say they don't, but that also feeds into what I'm saying is that for sure that guy doesn't want to artist.
Yeah, he's not part. He doesn't know how to party at all.
No, and that's why he likes it. That's why he likes it. She's like, oh my God.
But that's the thing. He's on vacation. He shouldn't have to find it.
There's no clits on vacation. There are no clits on vacation.
I can say that. He's there to...
It's Meg. Not the robot's vacation.
Yeah, Meg. Like, okay.
Did the robot pay $1,000 to fuck him?
Meg, I don't own a fleshlight, but I know of them.
Yeah.
And I assume...
I do. It's a clown's mouth.
Yeah. I assume you don't have to warm up the fleshlight by playing with its clit.
That's true.
The robots are just
You might still
you
want
just squirt some
some
ranch
lube,
dressing on the clown's
my
mouth and you go to town. All right, guys,
Brian.
pressing on. So here's where shit gets real wild, and this is actually where I think the movie takes a full turn towards sci-fi horror. Up to this point, it's very sci-fi. Like I said, there's a lot of violence, and that sort of thing. But like this is when it takes the turn really towards like full sci-fi horror, and this is actually a really really chilling scene in my mind. I remember the first time I watched it, it really threw me for a loop, and it's been so long I almost forgot about it. So John and Peter roll out hungover as fuck in the morning from their like crazy, bar brawl escapades the night before. And they've been just thick as thieves the whole time. John's really like helped Peter to open up, and the whole time the trajectory, the character arc of Peter seems to be that he is this like kind of uptight little twatty guy who ultimately gets kind of unwinds and learns how to relax and all this stuff, and then he gets fucking killed. That's what you're expecting. You really think Peter's gonna fucking die at some point, right? And John set
I really
up
wanted him to, though, and like a little bit, like there's like a little part of me that's like,
well, at first, yeah, because he's definitely set up to be like I said, the snotty, a little bit more prim and proper douchebag, whereas John's like he's the guy who gets it. He's the man's man, kind of thing.
I would have for sure banged him, whether or not I was
John,
a robot
of course
or not.
Who would you?
It's Josh Brolin's dad. Why not?
Yeah, whether or not, Josh. I mean, those are good genes there. In any case, this part happens so fast. They're walking out, they're hungover, they're on their way back to the hotel to sleep off this hangover, and Gunslinger, Yul Brynner character, the gunslinger robot, shows up and is like, put him up, partner, just doing his whole like gunslinger routine, like he's challenging them for a duel, and they're like, not now, we're too hungover. There was not a lot of
Hoss action going on in this movie,
like calling each other Hoss.
Yeah,
no, they don't do a lot of chief or Hoss or boss or anything like that. He's just like, put it, basically like challenge him to a gunfight.
That's all he understands. Yeah.
And they're like, no, we don't want to. And then John's like, don't worry, I'll take care of it. So it's almost like it's a chore. They understand it's part of the park or whatever. Then all of a sudden, the fucking gunslinger blasts John, kills him dead. And it happens so fast. And John's like, I've been shot. And they're like both stunned. He's bleeding. And then you're like, what is going to happen? John's been, really pictured as like the main protagonist up to this point. And then John just drops fucking dead on his face, like very unceremoniously, very fast. The whole thing just like, you as the audience get thrown into the same level of like confusion and fear as like the characters do, because you're like, I did not see that coming.
Why did John Wayne die? You know what I mean?
He's the fucking guy, and he just died. So now all of a sudden Peter's left on its own. It's this very chilling scene. Like I said, John really looked like he was going to be the last man standing. And then I love this line. I've noticed this every time I've watched this movie. There's a line in the background. I don't even think you see who's delivering it, but it's one of the scientists that is in the in the control room, if you will. And when they've already seen that the one, medieval, king guy got stabbed, and they know shit's going awry, but it hasn't really gone full on bonkers yet. And the one guy, you hear him go, "Sir, we have no control over the robots at all." And he just says at all. I don't know why. It's just such a weird inflection he puts on the word, but
we are really focusing on this episode, so that makes sense. So you would bring it up.
Yeah, it's a big part. But yeah, so the robots at this point are in fact rampaging. So I do want to point out, when it comes to vote, the movie is, the topic is called Robot Rampage. This is a full-on rampage. They are murdering everyone in Roman world. Like, they are stabbing people. There's fucking bloody corpses and guests dead all over the place. And then their answer is like, they really have no contingency plan. I can only
imagine. So just a sidebar. We're going to take a step back. With the Roman world, I feel like what a change of events, because like the Westworld and the medieval world, killing happens. Like this is
everyone's
normal.
it's a violent fantasy thing. Yeah.
But the Roman world, we're painting out that we are talking about sex, drugs, and rock and roll in the Roman world. And then all of a sudden they turn on you and they're using their dicks to kill you.
Oh, sharpening their dicks. Yeah.
What a turn of events.
Yeah. All of a sudden the gladiator is holding two sharpened dicks.
He's definitely glad he ate her.
Oh God,
that was actually a really bad joke.
Meg, jump out the window. Meg, jump out the window. All right, so
I do. Like I said, hold on. I just do like the image though of like the robot turns and then he just like takes his dick skin off like a sheath. And it's just like a plunger and a knife underneath it.
Or he's going down on her and then he literally eats her.
Oh,
you know
that's
brutal.
It just started biting.
Yeah,
he's like literally biting her vagina.
You know what I mean?
That's tough.
Okay.
That's tough. That's
so my
bad
joke can kind of be irrelevant. It was bad, but I will.
Drink your wine out of a bottle. Slug at that wine.
I took a break.
As Meg's slugging wine out of a bottle, like just completely justifying that horrible joke. Oh, we got bottle of wine Steve there too.
Yeah.
You got some soju there, bud?
No, I'm still drinking that dessert wine from last week.
Yum.
Oh, God, I hate the words dessert and wine together.
Yeah.
So the robots, I will point out the robots are in fact rampaging at this point. So they're fucking everybody up. They have, again, no contingency plan here. And the idea is their only response is, okay, let's just shut down the power grid. But, oh, by the way, all the robots are running on batteries, and they're not going to, those batteries aren't going to die for, hours or days. So it's like, again, terrible plan. So Peter takes off to Roman world. You get this really, because kind of chase scene out in the desert and the gunslinger's after him. You get this, this great line of the scientist who's telling him like, you're never going to get away. He knows, he's always gonna be one step ahead of you. Of course, that guy gets fucking blasted in 2 seconds, but ultimately Peter like runs to Roman world. He finds this like, bunker / tunnel that he goes down into the control center, and the gunslinger follows him down there into, what's essentially like the repair lab. And Peter, there is a little bit of a foreshadow that happens earlier when the scientist guy, basically says like, hey, what can you do? And he's like, oh, you could do this. You could burn him. You could throw acid on him, whatever. But like, he's always going to be one step ahead of you. Well, Peter takes that to heart. He lays down and kind of lures the gunslinger into, into his trap, if you will, lays on the table, acts like he's a dang old robot, and then surprises him with just freaking splashing acid right in his face. That tale as old as time. Just throw the old pretend you're sleeping and throw acid in someone's face.
Classic.
Then you get the whole showdown in medieval world between Peter and the gunslinger. He can't discern Peter from the flame because of like the body heat signature thing, which they talk about earlier. But like, his sensory technology is all fucked up because of the acid. That's what you're kind of what's demonstrated there.
Right.
And then so he can't see them, which is like, I really wonder how much of this like influenced Jurassic Park too. Like the whole idea with the T-Rex and without moving, you couldn't see him and all that. Now that was based on movement, but it just is, it's a similar gag, or similar scene premise.
I think my mind immediately went to the one dinosaur that spit like that oil.
Oh, the venom.
Type.
Oh, you mean with the acid? Oh, I get you. Yeah, I meant like how they like if you stand still, the T-Rex can't see you, kind of thing.
Right. Right.
But ultimately, again, a really fun burn sequence. He eventually, tricks the gunslinger over and sets him on fire. Peter tries to save, this lady. Ultimately, you learn, surprise, she's a robot. And then there's a final, and this is probably my second favorite scene besides the when John gets fucking Dutched, is final jump scare from the like charred gunslinger comes back and really looks like monstrous and creepy. He's this charred, flesh covered,
it's like when you see Chucky, like when he's
robot.
fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah. And his face is all fucked up. And, and then eventually, you see his kind of, missing robot face. It's pretty sick. But yeah, and then, I would say the one thing, this movie ends pretty abruptly. It's just kind of Peter sitting there like, bro, that was lame.
Is there?
And then it's over.
I don't want to give too much away from Steve's film because we're about to talk about it. But is there something to a theme? Because you guys know what I'm talking about. If you think about it, of end of Steve's film to that, and the whole idea of being tricked, of that being a horror element of it, or just a way of that deceitful thing. I don't is there any sort of theme in movies? That's clearly two of the movies we're talking about tonight, you're kind of have that happen.
Raquel comes back.
The love.
Yeah.
But I think specifically talking about being tricked of you don't know that someone's a robot and then a robot.
You're talking with regards to the woman who's tied up in the cells.
Sure. Yeah. We're seeing that. I think it's an interesting, just in talking about it, I remember that.
I think it's that. Yeah, I think the theme goes with just the general ideas of robots and sci-fi in general, of being not being able to discern the lines between what actually human is. That's always a big trope of sci-fi, especially dealing with artificial intelligence. Is you can't tell what's what, and you see it in kind of earlier in the Westworld film of after the rampage, and it's just the gunslinger chasing Peter. You see a bunch of bodies laying around, but you can't tell who's human and who is a robot that just got shut down.
Sure.
So you don't really know what the real body count is. All you know is chaos happened.
Because I was just very curious, because I think of this whole episode in a way definitely has some crossover with sci-fi. That makes sense, a lot of sense. So.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for answering my question.
No, but that's really it. It doesn't wear out its welcome. This movie could have dragged on for another 20 minutes after the climactic scene, but I do appreciate that it's just no, we got there, guys. Yeah. Fuck off.
It's just such a I felt like it was a movie before its time when I was watching it. Oh
yeah, it for sure is. Just two quick notes of things that I read up on. One, when you see all the heat signature stuff and the digitized stuff, that's actually the first instance in feature filmmaking of digitized filmmaking.
Oh really?
Yeah,
that's cool.
It was a process they had to develop for it. And then the other is the ending was originally different, which is why this ending feels so weird, because you just said, Brian, Peter is just sitting on the steps and he's well, why'd that happen? He's just kind of staring, just
he's what the fuck?
That was dumb.
Was that?
That was dumb. Why'd that happen?
Yeah.
But the original ending apparently was more contrived, and Crichton changed it from that. But he even went as far as filming the original ending, which was that somehow the gunslinger wound up on a torture rack in that medieval torture realm, and then was pulled apart by the torture rack because he thought it was funny that a complex machine was torn apart by a simple machine.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I would have liked that, I guess. But yeah, that I guess there's a lot of questions to answer as to why he ends up on there, I guess. But yeah. So that's the flick. That's Westworld 73. All right. So what that means is 2 down, 1 to go. Steve, you are up. Listen, I'm just going to say it. This might not work to my benefit, but it's just a damn blast of a movie in Screamers 1995. I don't think I've ever seen it. I think this was my first watch. I thought when you said, oh, we're going to watch Screamers, I was oh, yes, sweet. I've seen that. It's pretty good. I don't think I've ever watched this movie front to back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I started it or whatever, but I do not remember most of this movie.
Yeah. It definitely has I had a lot of fun with it too. But it definitely has a name that sounds like it could be a different type of movie.
I think some people think frighteners, screamers, frighteners,
I was thinking something probably way more inappropriate at this point, but
yes, it could also be porn.
Yes, this could be. This is definitely on
just
the
basing
top.
It off of our last, talking about my movie,
This is probably top 250 searches on Pornhub, right?
Yeah,
gotta make that list.
Yeah.
Not up there. It's not up there with Wife and Mom and all the other
Oh,
psychos.
God.
Not
out there.
nowadays. Not nowadays. But again, remember, this is 1995. So, so it would have been Screamers back then, and then Screamers 2 : Squirters.
Yeah, but back in 1995, my top search, I think, was probably naked lady boobs, and I typed the O's as like zeros. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Big boobs Pam Anderson.
Big boobs Pam Anderson. Yeah. Real Pam Anderson.
Yeah, real Pam Anderson, real Kathy Ireland nude. Don't give me that fake bullshit.
Don't give me that
That's in parentheses.
Yeah. Dear AOL, don't give me fake Kathy Ireland nudes. Give me real ones.
It's my birthday. I deserve it.
It's my birthday. So, Screamers, 1995, based off the Philip K. Dick short story Second Variety.
Mm.
It is actually pretty faithful to the original Philip K. Dick short story.
Is it? Yeah, I've never read this one. I love Philip K. Dick. I've never read this the story this was based off. I didn't know. I had to look it up.
Basically the one real big change between the two is that the original was written in like 1953-ish. Mm-hmm. So rather than being based off on this planet that the movie is, it's actually the USSR and the United Nations. Mm-hmm. And but after that, it's all the same. Like the United Nations invented the swords, or I think they're called claws in the short story. But it still follows the exact same progression, even including that the wild ass scene that occurs in this that is a huge swing that I don't think you could take anymore. But we'll get to that scene.
That is the part where I went, I never saw this movie before. I think I remembered that.
I don't remember this.
Peter Weller is one of those guys I will gravitate towards. Mm-hmm. He's just, one of those classic, like, late 80s, early 90s tough guys that just makes a lot of...
He looks like he always plays a cop, and I think he does a lot.
Cop or like a renegade badass biker. It's like Lance Hendrickson, Peter Weller. Like there's a type around this time.
Yeah. I've been like falling asleep to that TV show Psych that was on USA. Yeah. And like it just so happened like the same week that we're watching Screamers, like he's on an episode of Psych as like a serial killer.
Oh yeah, serial killer, big.
For sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, he's
big serial killer vibes.
Big serial killer vibes.
Yeah, obviously everybody knows Peter Weller from RoboCop, but like once you get him in like this film or like in that Psych episode, like he's far more charismatic than like I think a lot of people give him credit for, because like he's so like kind of toned down in RoboCop, even though like he plays that role perfectly.
Well, it's like if you took Keanu Reeves, playing Neo in The Matrix, that's perfect for Keanu Reeves. He may not be able to act too far out of that John Wick, Neo thing, but even if he could, that's what now people know him for, those types of roles.
Right.
It's almost like that little, like when you're known for literally playing a robot or a cyborg,
Exactly. Yeah.
You get typecast pretty easy.
But yeah, no, he when you look at his other roles, like he shows up pretty well and like has a lot of charisma and is just like an interesting character. I think he was like also a villain on one of the new Star Trek movies. Star Trek in the Darkness. He was like a villain. He was piloting an extra big Enterprise to blow the Earth up or some shit. I don't remember that movie.
Myself to watch the new Star Treks. I want to, but I'm a big fan of the old ones, and I just heard such bad things. I'll get around to it. But
they're not bad movies, but they're not Star Trek either. So, but
that's what everybody said. They're like, these are Star Trek movies that are not made. The original Star Trek films, like they were made for Star Trek fans.
Right.
Like this was meant, they were trying to do a big old Marvel Star Warsy thing with this.
Yeah, and they do because it's J.J. Abrams on both. So
Barf.
Yeah. But yeah, back to Screamers. It was directed by Christian Duguay. Not really an interesting catalog of anything he's done. He did the Scanners sequels. And then The Art of War with Wesley Snipes. So his catalog isn't like terribly interesting.
Yeah, this movie felt at times to me, and like we'll talk about it more. Obviously, this movie felt at times to me like a movie that was really good and super entertaining in spite of itself, like in spite of the not in spite of the script. Maybe I'll say, I thought a lot of the dialogue is hot trash, and it would be it's really only decent because of the way Weller delivers it so earnestly. Like he takes a lot, so many lines that would be laughable if anybody else says them, and delivers them in a way where like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, dude. You know? Well, and it's not just like, oh, he's badass. Like he actually he commits to them. He doesn't give up halfway on him. He doesn't leave the lines out to dry. You know what I mean?
No, it's just, I think it's just corny. That was like, even just like pointing out, I think that made me laugh a couple times. Like even just the way someone pronounced ASAP as ASAP. And, you know, and then even what you're talking about, just like some of them are just such corny lines. However, I mean, the same way that I would look at a lot of these things as time and place too. I don't know if it's a direct, like pulling from the book to like script, but you're just like, God, this is just uncomfortable. Like no one would ever say that.
But like a Philip K. Dick adaptation, the mid 1990s, like you're starting to get into that space where it feels like there could be a little bit of this homage to over the top 80s horror. And sci-fi action type of thing, where you're like, you feel like there is a twinkle of meta in its eye.
There's there's a twinkle of meta, and also remember that the script was written by Dan O'Bannon. Obviously a Return of the Dead and Life Force, and so he knows how to kind of put a little tongue in cheek there. He got it.
There definitely is. Yeah, there definitely is.
So I mean, you do get like a lot of funny interactions as well, like especially when Hendrickson and Jefferson are first leaving the base. And like Jefferson is just annoying the shit out of Hendrickson. So
yeah, he's literally like, if this was a Disney movie, one of them would have been like, he would have been the Doberman, and the other one would have been, or no, even if this was like Looney Tunes, it would be that big bulldog and the little one that's jumping all around, going, "Where are we going? Hey,
yeah, what are you gonna do, boss? What are we doing? What are we doing? Shut up,
shut up.
Just a quick overview of the film. You get a quick kind of narrative scroll to set everything up. You're on this
sucker for a good narrative scroll.
Yeah, it helps sometimes. But
sometimes it's just lazy and dumb. But I don't know. I just have nostalgia for it.
Yeah, I think this one's pretty simple, just to get you in the mindset that like, hey, we're going to a world you've never heard of, and there's these things you've never heard of. So it's like you're on Sirius 6B, and then there was a war that broke out between a fucking like colonists who were working for this NEB. So it's like it's a workers' revolution that turned into a full scale war that is looking to go interplanetary at some point. But in that time, they invented this thing called the Sword, which are these little mobile robots, which they're pretty great because it's like Tremors. They travel in the ground, and then they jump out of the ground and like dismember people, which is like a horrific war weapon.
Yeah, it really is. Well, I want to get into it. We're going to talk about its AI and all that stuff, so I'll wait to talk about that. But yeah, they are.
I feel like
just
even
cool.
just talking about the way they move too, though, because we even saw it when we talk about Dune. Like that was like such a pulling some from that. Like it's so creepy of like you don't know where or when they're going to like pop out, and so having even just like the Tremors reference, and then having obviously even thinking about the story of Dune, like it added a different element of like creep factor. That it felt like out of your control. And I don't think I recognized how cool of a type of scary character it could be, even until I watched Screamers. And I was just like Tremors. And then I thought of Dune immediately as well.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like if, the Sentinels from Phantasm banged a Tremor and then they had little puppies or something.
Yeah.
But these ones are even more creepy because we'll talk about why. But
they start out like pretty oh, this is a creepy, gimmicky type of fun thing, and then evolves into something very different and almost goes into this the thing like territory.
Which that's one of the nice things is why the crawl had to exist, because after that the movie like kind of shoots itself out of a cannon with you have this NEB soldier coming up on a base, and like you have these Alliance guys, they're just on lookout, and then they watch this guy get completely dissected, but he's trying to deliver a message. Right. And they take the message and they take it to Peter Weller, and Peter Weller is like the commander of this Alliance base.
And he's doing all those classic 1995 commander things.
Yeah.
Smoking ciggies, listening to some doing one thing that's out of character. In this case, listening to opera.
He's like, it's funny because we already brought up Star Trek, but he's really doing like some Picard shit when you're introduced to him.
He's doing badass Picard shit.
Yeah.
Like Picard trying to be like a tough Picard that listens to Hate Breed.
Yeah. He's tough. He's tough Picard because he's smoking cigs and he's looking at
as close to a professional cigarette smoker as anyone's ever been. Can we admit that? Yeah.
He's smoking.
Dude should go pro.
Well, he is. He's an actor. He's gone pro.
He's getting no, but I mean, even the character should go pro too, because it's like this whole bunker is just pretty much all they do is smoke. Like it's the vocal point of everything they do. Literally so much so that they have to smoke a certain type of cigarette to keep them alive.
Right.
Like, it's wild.
Yeah, and it's just also just kind of a funny bit of fatalism that like you have to smoke to stay alive, but then also they've just accepted that they're going to die anyway, so they smoke it. Like they just don't want to die the radiation death.
Yeah, I want to die a slower death from these cigarettes.
Yeah, like they're still going to get some form of cancer.
Right.
But so he's smoking cigs, he's looking at his coin collection, and he's listening to Italian opera. That's badass Picard.
Right.
They bring him the message, and like it's this offering of a treatise between the Alliance and NEB. There's tales of like they're all fighting over the mining rights of this wild resource that when it's mined, it releases the dangerous radiation, and then like that radiation is why the Alliance workers revolted, because they didn't want to get fucking poisoned in the mines. It's a pretty sound reason to start a revolution.
Yeah, it's almost a plutonium. Like they talk about plutonium too, like later on, and like it's we talk about like nuclear war is obviously a thing that exists in this environment and stuff. But it almost reminds me of that type. It's like this like sacred. What's the thing in like Avatar that they get out of the earth or something?
Oh, unobtainium.
Unobtainium.
Avatar?
It's the dumbest name in the history of cinema, but it almost reminded me a little bit of that. It's unobtainium,
Yeah, and that's like I've never watched Avatar because I heard it was called unobtainium. I'm like, that's for babies. That's a baby's name.
Yeah, it is.
Those are babies.
Yeah,
it totally is.
It's a baby's name, and I'm not watching a movie that doesn't take itself seriously enough to not use baby names. At least in this movie, it's like Berninium or some shit. Like they just made some shit up.
Obscure, sciencey sounding. Yeah.
But so they Weller and his kind of second in command, they take a call from Earth because they're like, "Hey, Earth, we got this thing."
Can you start saying Earth instead of Earth? For me?
Yeah.
Just for me.
And then also, could you say, "Welcome to Earth, brush your teeth"?
Well, it is.
That's the line in my head. That's the line Will Smith says.
Is you're holding a paintbrush? What the fuck are you holding right now?
Well, whatever. I don't know why I got this paintbrush. But after Will Smith punches that alien in fucking Independence Day, in my mind, the line he says is, "Welcome to Earth, brush your teeth." And it always has been.
They don't even have teeth in that movie. They have
tentacles. I don't know why.
But yeah, they have to call Earth because I mean it is 2347, so I'm pretty sure it is officially renamed Earth. But
yeah, they for sure saw Independence Day. They definitely are going by this for sure.
Yeah. And they get their VR call from this guy on the planet, and he says,
Let's call him General Jowls.
Yeah, General Jowls gives him a... And he just, like, he gives him the okay. He's like, hey, yeah, war is coming to an end. We found the fake thing, the Bernium, on, whatever, Triton 4. It's a fucking thing that you're never going to see it, and it doesn't matter. We found it elsewhere.
Stop fighting each other then. Yeah.
Found it elsewhere. War's over, and, like, we found a way to mine it, so, yeah, don't worry about it. And then just out of nowhere, a fucking shuttle crashes while they're trying to have drinks.
Yeah. So bizarre.
Yeah, it's such a weird...
what an inconvenience.
Yeah. Like, there was no... I don't know. This is probably, like, the weirdest thing to get somebody there of just, like, oh, yeah, and a plane crash.
Yeah, like, why didn't he show up like the other guy did? I mean, I get the idea is maybe he'll get all carved up by the screamers, but, like... Couldn't he have parachuted in? You know what I mean? I don't know. Right. It just seemed like a big, bold, expensive choice to make a plane crash outside. It was it led to a cool scene. I'm not mad at it.
Oh, but,
yeah, like, it is weird.
Yeah, the scene is cool. The scene is tense. And, like, it is expensive because, like, you've already seen the outside of this fortress, you know, and it's relatively empty and vacant in the lot, and then they drop a damn big old shuttle in the middle of it, and they're like, here's a new set piece, fuck everybody.
Yeah, exactly. It was like ding dong, set piece delivery, like you just went outside and it's there.
This is for the next film, guys. Just leave it there. Just leave it there.
Don't touch.
Play on it, but don't mess it up.
Yeah, don't knock it over. We need this. But yeah, this is the arrival of Ace Jefferson, who is like, there was a shuttle, you know, apparently passing past Sirius 6B and headed on its way to Triton. And what you learn is that the war actually isn't over. And Ace Jefferson and his band of Marines and Roughnecks, I guess, were all headed to Triton and start war with the NEB over the Bernium that they did find. And then this is like Peter Weller's kind of clue of like, oh, we're all being left out to dry here. Like, they're continuing the war without us, and even though we started it, like, you know, he's like, I'm a commander here, I started this war, they're leaving us to die on this planet with no information. They just wanted quiet and covered up.
It was weird. This was definitely like the lowest point of the movie, I feel like, is explaining all this international trade and treaty and politics and all this stuff.
Right.
But it felt a little bit like, you know, the episode 1 type of, hey, let's go talk to the parliament for an hour. It wasn't that bad, obviously, but at least Peter Weller was there to, like, simplify it. He was just like, they're fucking us, dude. They're pieces of shit. We got to kill them. Like
you would have paused at least 3 times for a puff of cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. But he sorted it out a little bit to know, like, oh, okay, so he mad about whatever's happening here. He mad about it.
Right.
So somebody being bad guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense. Like, they cause, I mean, you see it as they travel, but like they had full on nuclear war on this planet because of that. And then they're saying to both sides, kiss and make up, even though the war's not over, but like, we're not dealing with any of you guys because your planet is fucking useless and it has no point anymore. We're not going to mine here.
Yeah,
and
give it up, dorks.
Yeah, and we're not going to take you back either. And also, you have all these crazy ass robots on here. So like, fuck your crazy like Ghost Town planet. It's awful. You die here.
Well, I feel like there's like that I feel like we learn a little bit more later about like the evolution aspect of them, but like it in regards to this though, is I feel like there's just like a piece that could have been explained or would have been neat to learn like later of like that the US like knew how bad it was, or you know what I mean, like the home planet, and they're just like, yeah, good luck, we'll let them take care of you, and then just move on from there.
Well, it's almost like they were mad they weren't already dead. You know what I mean? Like they were just hoping they would have already killed each other by now. So maybe this would even exacerbate that. Like, you know. Yeah, they're definitely upset that they're still there. I mean, they even go as far as to like fake the VR call because you find out that the guy, you know,
Captain Giles or whoever who called earlier, that was just a fake VR thing.
Yeah.
That, like,
I
you know what,
almost
though?
thought that could have also been the little bots, though. That's also what I kind of interpreted, that maybe they even took over the whole station and were like interfering.
that's
I
true.
don't know.
I
mean, that's just an
'cause that-
interpretation. It's not like a direct, like, this is what it
was.
says.
What
but-
you were saying is it was basically the equivalent of that zombie in Return of the Living Dead crawling into the ambulance
Send
and
more
saying,
paramedics.
"Send more paramedics."
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I didn't think about that, but yeah.
No, because I don't know, because that call came from Earth where there wasn't those robots.
Mhm.
So
Well,
they
just
were
like they play them off. The only reason why I said that was like they play them off to have been very evolved and being able to like mimic things. And
Right.
so I mean, but they did at that time they didn't know how to check for the tricks. So I don't know.
Yeah, I did like
Maybe
that
I'm
when
making this shit up now.
I think so.
when he walked into the room, like he's a VR, and that's part of the gag of the scene is look at this guy walking in. Oh wait, no, it's just a VR. Cool, Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's kind of the scene a little bit, but he has to when you reveal that it was VR. Why did he have to open up the door to walk into the room?
Right. That's the thing. They're still doing the pomp and circumstance of it all because they open the door for him, and Weller and his second in command are like standing at attention.
Right.
When like the
But
VR,
this isn't
the
live.
VR,
That's like standing on attention to.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, the VR can't even see them. It's just a message, but they're just doing the pomp and circumstance as like good soldiers would.
Yeah, that was the part that was like,
Can
this doesn't seem right.
I want to interject
it's
one of
like-
my favorite lines of this film, though, around this scene, though.
Yeah.
It was like, if he so much makes a sound or farts, shoot him. Like the fact that they had to like say the word fart, and I was like, as a child, my child brain was like instantly really happy that this happened.
Yeah, there's some good lines throughout, that's for sure. But
yeah. So yeah, upon learning of their betrayal, Commander Hendrickson, he decides, hey, I'm gonna go to the NEB base and I'm gonna talk to these guys. I'm gonna find out what's up with them because one of their guys came and got killed, and we haven't heard anything from them. So maybe we can orchestrate some sort of peace or something else, and actually stop fighting and maybe get off the fucking planet or something. In his decision making, though, he decides to take Ace Jefferson because
it's a mistake.
Mistake. He learns. He figures it out.
Jefferson.
Yeah. But he says, I don't want to risk anybody else in my fortress. This guy's new, so fuck him.
Yeah, pretty much. Like if he bites it, I'm not going to be that sad. But also, they do specify that he's supposed to be like really good with a rifle or something. He's supposed to be
he's
like
a sharpshooter.
Yeah, right. But when they do set out on their little, excursion, with him and and Ace, and whenever they're going to start them to go meet the NAV people, and he has his headphones, and it becomes what's it called? I can't think of the word. Diegetic. I can never remember the word.
Yeah.
It becomes like diegetic music in the film too, and the music that Ace is listening to is such a strange choice. And I know I obsess over this a lot, but it sounds like if Sheryl Crow, like if a Sheryl Crow album was like redone by Lou Rawls. It's such a strange fucking song he's listening to on we're going out and we're going to have a battle. And he's supposed to be this young, eager, right out of, basic training type of guy. So of course he's not like really registering the danger. For him, it's like, I'm going out to fight and be a soldier, big boy. That just makes it make even less sense. It's just such a strange album or such a strange song he's listening to.
Yeah, I think it was one of those situations of like, well, there was some sort of tie-in, and they're like, we're gonna try to sell albums for this artist. Like somebody tried to get a product tie-in.
Yeah,
I feel like all of my reflection on the music though is just like, this is the 90s.
Yeah, it's 1995.
Yeah, it's just it kind of had this not full write-off, but like that was such a weird time for music that like it was an amalgamation of I think like this like weird transition point, but also just anything went. And like it like right now we have like very specific genres I think that become like popular music. The 90s, no. Like it was just like anything.
Yeah.
Like just throw.
Yeah. Especially like mid 90s and indie music. Like you look at the way like Clerks got its soundtrack of just like it was a bunch of like artists and everything like kind of tied to Miramax in some way. And they're just like, let's throw all these people on. Because like the original Clerks cut didn't have any fucking music because Kevin Smith couldn't afford that. So they're just like, okay, we got deals with these record companies. Here comes the Jesus Lizard and here comes all this other goofy shit. And none of it is actually music that's popular. But maybe we can sell an extra fucking 5,000 records if we put it on a soundtrack.
There's a lot of Molly being done.
Yeah,
time.
probably that too. That kind of never helps.
Molly, Coke. There's a lot of blending of things.
I do appreciate that they've mastered VR technology, but this guy doesn't have Bluetooth headphones. No wireless headphones have been invited.
No, they're like the type that you would have you seen like those they're like glasses that basically use like pulses to like get the sound into like through your brain. That's basically what I equated it to. So
that
it's
sounds
pretty
like
progressive
the devil's
still.
work. I'm not interested in that.
Pass.
Hard pass. Hard pass. Also, that is an insult.
It's actually science,
That
Brian.
is like that's one of the examples of what we were talking about. It's like you look like the type of guy who would have Google glasses. You know, like that's a type you want to avoid.
I'm adding that to my list.
Yeah, you pre-ordered Google glasses.
Which RIP, they officially are no longer making those.
I know they finally discontinued them. They sold 30 pairs in 5 years and finally discontinued them or whatever.
Yeah. The only one I remember was there was one guy who wore them inside the CERN Hadron Collider and rode his fucking Dutch bike around the CERN so you could see like a video of it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Sick.
Weird.
Yeah. It was neat, but whatever. So yeah, we get a little Fellowship of the Rings travel with Jefferson and Hendrickson. They go across.
Can I point out that their like relationship there was like this like weird buddy cop thing where it's just like kind of like how you described it earlier, like where you're just like, hey, but it's like with them, both of them, he just wouldn't shut the fuck up. But like you could tell that Weller was like kind of in like getting attached. This was the period they were getting attached. He's like, shut up. So and so.
Well, he's like so Ace is so unlikable as a character. And he's like in contrast makes Peter Weller look even better because Jefferson's performance as the like overzealous, excitable greenhorn is like it's very on the nose. Yeah, like you almost expected for him to throw out a zoinks, or something like that. Like it was so over the top.
A G. Willikers, if you will.
Yeah, if you will. Yes, he is very much on that. Like they're a big, but the whole movie, and I've never read the book, but the whole movie almost reads like I don't want to say a graphic novel, but some sort of like pulpy sci-fi novel kind of thing, like the dialogue does.
Yeah.
Because it's a little grittier than that. Obviously, it's, a little bit wilder stuff happens, but it feels just like a late 80s, early 90s, like sci-fi comic or something.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely like probably Dan O'Bannon's influence because again, like I was saying, the original short story is about the USSR. It's about Earth. It's of the time because no Earth,
please.
Earth for the short story, Earth for the movie.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
Got it.
Fair.
Okay, cool.
So like that's kind of Dan O'Bannon putting his own spin on things. That's why you get like these great like kind of set pieces of like the mining operation that you see off in the distance. That's like it's all lit up and crazy. Yeah. You get the bombed out city, but then like I assume he's like putting a lot of his own spin on just like the way characters interact because he has to like come up with a bunch of sci-fi shit for them to say. That probably didn't. I haven't read Second Variety, but I read it like a synopsis just to see like how close it was, just because I'm always interested in like based on the story by, and it's like, well, how based? But
no, that makes sense. I don't know if you guys feel this way, and maybe I feel like I don't really hear like large critique, especially with like Philip K. Dick being such a descriptive writer overall. Like, I don't think he spares any details, and his shit's usually really long. That I've never seen people try to like shortchange it, like with like cinema. Even though I would say that this movie may have benefited a little bit by cutting out some. I felt a couple times where I was like, oh god, I just want this, like, shorten this by like 3-4 minutes, like I'd be fucking fine. But overall, I think, like, just in relation to Philip K. Dick stuff, that cosmic horror and stuff, you don't really want to cut it because there's so much descriptions and like in his work, and you don't want it to be confusing either.
I mean, like, Dick serves everything up on a platter so well for people that it would do them a disservice to, you know, stray too far from what he's given them, you know. Like, again, I think this is kind of one of the more like strained ones because of the change in setting. But, you know, like when you're talking like Scanner Darkly, Blade Runner, things like that, you know, Ridley Scott obviously benefited a lot from not changing too much. So, again, they're on their little gallivant across, you know, the tundra of, you know, radiation and destruction, and they come upon a town that was like the city center, and now it's just completely bombed out. It's destroyed. But lo and behold, there's a kid walking around in the rubble. With the shock and awe to everybody.
Kid.
They try to get him to stay because, like, obviously you don't want to drag a kid through the fucking wasteland, and you know, he doesn't have a tab to protect him from the screamers, which is like their thing. They have a little radio, you know, RFID chip or whatever that is what's protecting Alliance members from, you know, the little ground saws that apparently
they tremor about and jump up and snip you up.
But apparently somehow a kid has been surviving in the rubble and eating rats, one would assume, as like that's all you see. That's the only other thing you see is rats.
How old do you think this kid was supposed to be?
8.
I was thinking David was supposed to be like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
Like he looks that old.
You're the only parent here. How old
so
does he look?
He looks
in months,
like he's
though?
He looks like he's 9 or 10. Yeah.
Right.
But in months, he looks like he's about 120 months. No, but he looks like he's like 9, maybe 10 years old. But he talks like the orphans from The Simpsons that are like, you're cool, like, or he looks like the freaking the kids that are like under the Ghost of Christmas Future's cloak when he picks it up. You know, he's just like this over the top, like, filthy, tiny, you know, almost Dickensian looking child.
Yeah.
But he is also talks like he's 4, but he's clearly 10.
Yeah.
You know? So, but so you feel for him, like, and it feels off.
Yeah, it feels
off.
off.
Obviously intense. That's intentional.
Yeah, it's intentional, and like the explanation he kind of gives is that like his parents died like 5 years ago. Which means he somehow has been surviving in this wastes since he was 5, which kind of impossible, but somehow not. And that explains like why he's so developmentally weird, and like why he only has a couple phrases of like, "Can I come with you?" You know, which is like terribly creepy.
Oh, creepy and sad, and also like you kind of thought like it actually was. Again, the interaction you would have thought would have been really weird here, but I think Peter Weller's performance saves, like, because it would have just been laughable if it was somebody else, I think. But like he does make the interaction seem authentic, but also, like I said, little weird, little uncanny valley. Yeah.
I mean, Peter Weller is like gruff enough because Ace again is like a bit over the top. He's like, "Hey, come on, man, we can't leave this kid out here." It's like,
we can't leave this kid out here. Yeah, he's essentially that sketch on SNL with oh my god, I can't remember any of the people's names, so fuck this comment. I was just did you ever see that thing where it's like Z-Ware and it's Kevin Hart You ever see that sketch with
no.
Kevin Hart and and he's like Z-ware and he's like, is it A-ware? He's like, no, it's Z-ware. He's like, is it B-ware? And it's a dumb long thing. Anyway, you literally would have had to have seen it.
Yep. I didn't.
Yeah.
So.
Sick.
My brain's doing real good today, guys. No food for 2 days really makes a brain healthy.
No food. You found a paintbrush. You're having a time.
I got this paintbrush. It was just sitting here.
But so yeah, tugging on the heartstrings. Yeah, they take the kid along with them. They make up camp, and I just wanted to stop for the scene where they make camp. Because also apparently Jefferson has brought along his porn goggles.
So these truly are, he is truly Google Glasses guy.
Yeah.
Like he 100% would have had these. He's looking up weird glitchy porn on his porn goggles. Yeah.
Which I think it's basically the exact same kind of porn experience as Demolition Man.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
It just reminded me because like it just shows you, it doesn't show you full on nudity or like POV porn, which is what people do nowadays. It shows you just like the flashes of boobs and shapes and curves and moaning.
Woman posing in a one-piece bathing suit.
Like, which I don't know how that makes more sense or is more erotic than just looking at a still image. Like,
well, and it's also like, what is his game plan here, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is the idea? He wasn't gonna beat it in front of this kid and his superior officer, right?
Right.
You know, it's not superior officer, you know what I mean? Like, what you just felt like looking at some horny stuff before you fell asleep in the snow? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's like the only thing he had loaded on his glasses.
Yeah. It's basically like when I only had Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory on VHS, like when I was a kid, like that.
Yeah.
Like you're just gonna watch that.
Or it's like early generations of the iPod. You only had a couple videos on your iPod because you could only store a couple videos.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, there's only a couple I can watch. I guess I'm gonna watch these like pandas rolling downstairs again.
Yeah. Well, Jefferson has his 3 alt rock songs and and some horny lady, whatever, like Magic Eye thing.
Yeah. Oh, bless you,
Space
Ace.
guys really love like big boobs.
Yeah.
They're real horny.
Yeah. Big boobs rule. Even in the future.
You don't smoke cigarettes like that and not love great big boobs.
It's just how you know, like it'll always cycle around. We're in a period right now of butts are in, but 20, 30, 47, it's going to be big boobs again. So it's just,
it's only a matter of time.
Just got to follow the cycles. You know how it lands. But
sure.
Yeah. So, in this scene, Jefferson almost gets killed by a screamer and gets reprimanded for not wearing his tab. We get reminded of that. It's not terribly important that happens again here. But I believe it does lead to Hendrickson being able to take a chip off the little screamer because apparently this one is more evolved than the ones back at the fortress. And then
that's where we start getting like the hints. I feel like that, and it gets explained a little bit further later on about their evolution. But.
Yeah, he starts getting hints like, oh, this one's somehow different, and like I think the chip even says revised on it.
Right.
So it's like, oh, there's a new iteration that I didn't know about.
Which is weird, and maybe you guys, I don't know if I really missed it, but I'm trying to think about it because the chips kept being focused on, but like. I don't think I paid attention or noticed if there was like a location or if that's like what them as like an evolutionary bot, like they're putting their own chips.
Yeah, they're
manufacturing
this down underground.
Okay, so we don't have to assume that there's possibly some interference from Earth.
No, at this point, there's no human intervention. It is technology has become sentient. Like the singularity has happened.
Yeah.
Okay. They're upgrading themselves.
That was like my assumption, but like the more I thought about it, I was like, could there be some sort of corruptness going on that like would make some things make a little bit more sense too. But
yeah, I guess that would have made kind of some sense, is like if Earth somehow planted these screamers there, and which they did really ultimately.
Initially, yeah, but we learned that their assumption was that they kept evolving themselves. So that's why, but I was like, the whole chip thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually put a note specifically about it now that I'm bringing it up, but I'll just like make a point to say is that I think if they actually did try to tell the story, or if there was like an additional, this would probably be a totally different movie, or an additional movie, if to explain the screamers and like how they evolved would probably actually be a pretty interesting film. But I think the less we know and the less we question, it's sometimes there's like, it makes a little bit more sense. You're just like, the only thing we need to understand is that they evolve.
Well, good news, Meg. There's Screamers 2 and Screamers 3, so you might get those answers. So
I haven't seen. Have you seen them? Do you know?
No.
Oh, okay.
I saw Screamers 2 when it came out a long time ago. I think it was like on a Sci-Fi Channel type day.
Got it.
But I don't think I've seen them all, and I don't remember what you actually learned in those movies, if you learned anything. But no, I think you're right though, as far as like keeping details minimum on this film, because it helps with the surprises. And this is where we kind of get our first one, because the next scene is, Ace and Hendrickson and the kid David, they are walking across a snowy field, and a sniper off in the distance is hanging out in a vent pipe, and he's scanning them with his rifle, and the rifle is like letting them know who's armed. And he scans Hendrickson, and he says he's armed. Obviously, he's holding a rifle. Scans the kid, he says he's armed. Weird. Scans Ace, says he's armed, so not a malfunction. And he turns back to the kid and blasts him away, which is like, that's pretty fucking bold.
Yeah, you were like, "Ooh," you definitely didn't see that coming. You thought Ace was going to get it. Like, it felt like Ace was going to get it, right?
For sure.
But instead, sweet, sweet little David gets just blasted off the map.
And he's a damn robot.
Oh, God damn it. He was a robot the whole time. I couldn't tell you how many times that's happened. You meet a David, you fall in love with them. Turns out to be a robot.
You let a kid tag along in your adventures. Turns out he was a robot trying to kill you.
Drop the kids, man.
Yeah, I'm not saying fuck the kids. I'm saying fuck the kids.
Fuck those kids. So yeah, we're now introduced to Becker and Ross, who are the two kind of NEB soldiers hanging out. They're like they're in the base. The base is obviously deserted in more ways than one. It's just burned out, derelict base. They're drinking like shitty water coming off a fucking hose.
Yeah, it's not looking that sweet over there for them.
No, it's not. Doesn't look cool.
It's not the cigarette paradise that they came from.
It is not the cigarette underground paradise. It also was like clay walls, but like a virtual reality wall.
Yeah.
Interesting place.
This is like wet and gross, and yeah.
Everything's gray, everything's wet, everything is busted. None of the real lights work. They're all just like sitting around space heaters like space hobos.
But my favorite type of hobo, by the way.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's a good hobo. But yeah, Becker and Ross take Hendrickson and Ace down into the base, and that's where you meet Jennifer Rubin's character, Jessica Hansen. And everybody would know Jennifer Rubin from Dream Warriors. But yeah, she does a okay job here in this movie. Like,
she's as close to a pretty decent NPC as you can have in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, she just kind of is that, like, she just reminds me of someone you would see in like a Final Fantasy game or something, where it's like, she's the sassy lady who's gonna take everybody's, and she's in charge. She's sassy. She's very cute too. You probably should fall in love with her.
Yeah, you should fall in love with her. You want to kiss? You should kiss.
And she says no, and then you want more.
She's a little bit of like, she's kind of like a guy, but then she has boobs. Yeah.
She's like the personification, I think, of like my shoulder shake a little bit.
A little bit. I mean, she comes with Johnny Walker red accessories. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess she does.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, she's there. She's explaining that, you know, she's a freelancer. She deals in arms and like, you know, yeah, this whole base is fucking falling apart. And basically it's just her and the two other guys is the last remnants. They suspect that the one high ranking officer is possibly holed up somewhere elsewhere in the base. Mm-hmm. And that's when they decide to infiltrate the base because they want to go to the comms array, try to get in contact with somebody. And boy, oh boy, is it a mess in there. Almost as if robots had rampaged.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like if robots did what robots do.
Yeah.
Which is to say, rampage.
Have a damn rampage.
Rampage.
You know,
Got that.
Cantina's covered in blood, bodies everywhere.
Yep.
And then they find the comms array, and this is where you get the best look at the little robot guy, because you get a nice little stop motion animation robot. And he looks like a little lizard, but like made of metal, and he has a fun tail and a saw face. And I really
They're
like.
cool. They're charming. Yeah.
I like the design.
Stop motion-ish. The effects in this movie as a whole are very charming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they're like, they feel like they're one generation behind.
Right.
You know, they feel like they'd be better served in 1988 than 1995, but that's probably why I like them so much.
Yeah. There's kind of a wild difference in a lot of the effects. And I think they accidentally blew their budget on some effects.
Yeah.
And then had to make it up. Cause like, so early.
There are some 90s CGI bullshit.
Yeah. And there's like some bad CGI bullshit. I think they blew all of their effects money on little stop motion robot guy. And the end of the film where the shuttle takes off, that you know, I complimentarily, I mean it looks like a PlayStation 2 like CG CG cutscene, which at that time would have been really good. And it is. It like I think that effect still kind of holds up, but like other effects had to suffer because of that.
Yeah. I mean, holds up is a strong word, but yes, it is of its time for sure.
I'd like to think that they blew their budget on the little teddy bear arm moving.
Yeah, that's what the fishing line.
That was $60 at least.
Yeah,
I would have put $100 on it.
Well, with inflation, it's more like
it's a lot. Well, that's the thing is like
it's 40 cents worth of fucking fishing line, and then $100 an hour for the guy to hook everything up.
Right. And then the failed pneumatic test prototype that didn't work, so they had to go to fishing line.
Yeah, well, that was $10,000 down the fucking drain.
Just flushing it shit. But yeah, you get a look at the little guy. Everybody runs away except for Hendrickson, because he thinks his tabs still kind of work and help him. And this is where he starts checking out the chips that he's collected along the way. And he finds, the type 1 is the little reptile robot that we're seeing now. Type 3 is the Davids. And then you don't know what type 2 is. You got a dang old mystery on your hand. What's a type 2 robot?
Now we got a mystery on our hands.
Yeah.
Now we got a sci-fi horror robot mystery.
Now you got yourselves a mystery. So back at the base, or whatever they're in, like sub-basement, just in their dirt farm.
Yeah.
You have a lot of tension between Ross, who is like this real just meek, obnoxious character.
Yeah.
And then
he sucks so hard.
And then Becker, who
fucking pansy.
Becker is some sort of channeling of Kurt Russell and Michael Madsen.
Yeah.
Because he's got all the tough guy puff out the chest one-liners, but he's also very fucking unhinged.
Yeah.
He looks like someone who would for sure spit in a spittoon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If this was if this was Westworld, he'd be spitting in his platoon.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta believe that at some point they really just wanted like Michael Madsen, but like he just said, no, I'm busy.
I mean, I think there was some of that. I mean, they lucked out with Peter Weller. Obviously, he killed it. But I wonder, like, because I keep getting confused because in my head, it's Peter Weller. But I keep forgetting that Joe's last name in the movie is Hendrickson.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Lance Hendrickson, which seems like he could have very easily played this role, too.
Yeah.
Peter Weller, at this point, I would have. No, Lance Hendrickson was in Aliens right around this time, wasn't he?
No, Aliens was before. Aliens is 86. And this is 95. So
that's right. I was thinking of the year of my movie, which was no. Jesus Christ, what am I thinking of?
Wow.
In my head, I was thinking 1986. I'm like, no, this is 1995 because Aliens came out, I think, in 86.
Yeah,
Again,
Aliens was 86. Yeah.
Why did I have 86 in my mind? Oh, because I just posted something this morning about Chopping Mall.
Oh,
that's why I have 1986 in my brain.
Although technically, for a little bit, I believe Lance is in Alien 3, which would have been 93. So still.
Wait, Aliens, 1986.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Why did I think it was later than that?
I don't know.
I still thought it was later than that.
Because Alien 3 is from 92, 93.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure Lance is in that for a little bit as well.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. Like they bring back the Bishop bot to fucking spit milk for a bit.
Probably. Yeah, I don't remember. I haven't seen Aliens 3 in a long time. I have it on VHS here somewhere. I should pop that back in.
It's underrated. Yeah, I don't think it gets a lot. I hate saying underrated, but it deserves more love than a lot of people give it.
Yeah.
But in the sub basement, Ross and Becker are fighting, and they begin to explain what the second variety is, and the second variety is apparently a wounded soldier. And you have Ross like being very obnoxious, and like he won't get over this phrase that he keeps repeating over and over of "get off my back."
Yeah.
And that's when Becker starts casting the aspersions that like Ross is probably a robot, because he won't stop repeating himself. None of them know each other really because they weren't serving together. They all just came to this NEB base, on their own.
Ace fell out of the fucking sky.
Right.
Yeah.
Ace fell out of the sky. I think everybody else was stationed elsewhere. Yeah. So I think Hansen was the only one who was a part of this NEB base, and then she allowed Becker and Ross in. So, Becker just says Becker's drunk and crazy, and he says "fuck it" and throws his knife right in Ross's chest and kills him.
That was a pretty sick scene. I'm not gonna lie. It's just like it felt kind of a little bit out of nowhere, but at the same time, you're just like, whoa.
I mean, I was I clapped. I think I was ready for Ace to be fucking done. So I had enough of G. Willikers over there.
Well, he doesn't die yet. That was just Ross.
No.
Oh no, Ross. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, Ross is the crazy complaining. Like he's the guy. He's the guy in like the war movie that is gonna break and wind up fragging everybody.
Yes, he's starting to crack, and everyone identifies it. Yeah.
So yeah, they get him before they can, but nope, he was a human. He was a man.
Sorry.
Yep. Sorry, wet on everything.
Yeah, sorry, baby.
That is a sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Whoopsies.
And you get a pretty cool line from between Becker and Hendrickson, and like he's like, "Oh, I made a mistake," and Hendrickson's like, "I'll kill you before you can make it again."
Yeah, that was a great line. I'll kill you before I let you make another mistake.
I just want to insert like an Andy Dick thing here and say Naughty Baby did a no-no.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Pretty much.
I think we chalk it up to that.
Yeah, chalk it up to Naughty Baby made a no-no. At this point, obviously the base is compromised, so they decide to all go back to the Alliance Fortress. And in between this, you've been getting these calls between Hendrickson and his second in command, but they're all broken up. They don't make a whole lot of sense, but you can kind of piece together that like they say somebody was weird and somebody showed up, but you don't know who showed up. But like, somebody.
It sounds ominous.
Yeah, it sounds ominous. They get back to
because he did have to keep checking it. Like the plan was for him to check in every 12 hours or whatever.
Yeah, every couple hours he's calling in, and then he's getting these weird staticky messages that don't make a whole lot of sense. They get back to the Alliance Fortress, and it seems like nobody's home. He calls in, and his second in command is just giving him like a weird runaround. He's like, "Come on down." He's like, "No, you open up. You come up."
Yeah. He's like,
"This is not Price is
Right. Hear
Right."
you. Come down.
Yeah. No, you come up. No, you come down.
Yeah. It's clearly like it's actually a pretty chilling scene because it's obviously Hendrickson coming to the conclusion that, all his friends and people he's been, alongside for years here are likely dead.
Yeah.
But no one else is really getting it but him.
Yeah.
So he's like left with all the weight of this information on himself alone, kind of.
Yeah. And he uses he actually makes a call back to his opera that he loves. Because
what would a robot not know anything about?
Right. Yeah. He's like, put Don Giovanni on the phone. And then he goes, "This is Don Giovanni. Come on down."
I don't know why I kind of liked that. I mean, obviously it's like a downing scene of sorts, but I kind of got a little chuckle out of it.
It's kind of funny because the robot doesn't change its voice either. Like it's just like, it's me, Don Giovanni now.
Hey, it's me. Yeah. I wish it did though. What
if it was like, "It's me"? We just saw the kids this afternoon to see the Mario movie.
Yeah.
Literally just got right back, and that was it'd be funny if he was like, "It's a me, Don Giovanni." Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that makes sense.
I guess they're not evolved enough, bitch.
But no, everybody's dead. And then the doors to this giant blast door, which I think is like a practical blast door that they keep raising and lowering. It opens up to reveal a huge army of Davids have taken over the base, and now you get the wildest scene that you've ever seen.
It's bonkers. I think the technical term is whacked out poo brain bonkers.
Yeah. And this is why I read up on Second Variety to see if there was a change. And no, there's not a change.
This is what the book does too.
It's really, you have a shootout of the remaining soldiers firing on a group of kids with guns and hand grenades, and they fucking Ace stole a mini nuke rocket launcher.
Yeah. I just Duke Nukem.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna call it a Duke Nukem.
Yeah, he had a Duke Nukem power upgrade, which they fire into the group of kids and blow all these robots up and blow themselves
see so
up.
many kids dying.
No, you usually don't.
This is why it's great, and this is literally like it's like that scene from I think the end of season 1 or season 2 of The Walking Dead. Spoiler alert, where the little girl that they're looking for, they learn that she's been a zombie the whole time.
Oh yeah,
and she comes out with all these. It's like that, but it's all kids.
Yeah, it's all kids. It's oops, all kids.
Oops, all kids. Yeah, it really is. Now they're technically not. So I guess it doesn't have that much weight because technically they are not kids. They are in fact robots disguised as kids. So this is, like I said, we've gotten to the point now. Obviously, the peak of that, I think, being the radio conversation. You know, when he asks for Don Giovanni, like that is the peak of the thing. Mystery element kind of thing, but at this point, you're just blasting a bunch of robots dressed up like little kids.
Yeah, and you have taken the shock away already because of shooting the kid earlier in the film.
Yeah.
So you take that shock away, but now it's still kind of shocking because it's a whole huge ass group. But then
pile of kids.
Yeah. But then also they're transforming and they're getting shark teeth and they're
they're doing crazy roaring mouths with a bunch of rows of teeth and shit. Yeah.
But they also built a lot of practical dummies to set on fire and explode, which is fucking nuts to do.
Yeah. They spent some cash on this movie. I didn't look at what the budget is, but it seems like they spent some cash.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And like you were saying, it's a lot of the effects are in this weird transition because they have estimated budget of 20 million, so they definitely put the time and money in. But yeah, some of it's CGI, some of it's bad CGI, and some of it is like, these practical and stop motion effects. But yeah, the fire the damn mini nuke, everybody blows up, and this is where you get Becker, and he's on the ground screaming, "Help me, help me," over and over again. And dumbass Ace don't know.
Ace was gonna get it. Ace was gonna get it somehow.
His name's Ace.
I mean, they were just talking about it.
Seems like someone.
Yeah. You should have known better, Ace.
Yeah.
Even if you're the rook, even if you're the greenhorn, you should have known.
Yeah, you don't remember. But yeah, Becker puts the squeeze on him. He just squeezes his insides like toothpaste.
Yeah, he just gives him the old fucking Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. I actually kind of like that kill.
He just puts the clamp on
It
him.
kind of was also silly.
Yeah, he gives him the clamps. Then he goes after Hendrickson, and this is probably the worst effect in the whole film. Hendrickson fires a grenade into Becker, and it looks like a fucking JPEG or PNG just falls off the robot legs. But like the legs were practical because they walked around on their own.
Yeah.
So they just didn't know how to mix it right. They're just like, I don't know. We fucked up.
Yeah, it wasn't I felt like this movie maybe a little bit wore out its welcome towards the end. Like I had definitely felt like it kind of peaked, at this point already. And I was, by the time it peaked, I was sad Ace hadn't died yet. And
Yeah.
I was mad that he was still alive.
But then he got killed, so you're fine.
Yeah.
But the only thing, like now we basically have like the ending is like a love story.
Right.
And that got real lame for me.
Yeah.
It didn't have to happen. It was such a 90s thing to have all that.
I also was just like, what a like proper time to have a makeout session.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like a couple times I was just like, oh, it sounds like you guys probably have a little bit more to worry about and stop sucking face right now.
It's completely just giving Peter Weller the not gaze. It's like because you can't.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't even work because he turns from. I mean, yes, it does obviously in terms of the not gaze, but what I'm saying is like he's this badass guy who's saved everyone's life 100 times and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden he just turns into fucking Captain McSimp over here, like so fast.
Right, it's like with somebody he just fucking met,
but they're both acting like they are fucking long lost soulmates.
Yeah.
It's very forced.
Like I get the idea of like boning at the end of the world because that's what's going on.
Sure.
But like that's not what they're doing. They're doing romantic look each other in the eyes shit.
Right.
That's gross. That's gross.
They're holding.
Don't give me that
hands.
romantic shit.
Yeah.
They're holding hands.
It's fucking or nothing. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Like it should have come down to when they go to the escape pod. It should have come down to whoever busts first has to stay.
Oh, so it's like a competition.
It would have been him.
Yeah.
It would have been him. So she would have gone. Yeah.
Hey, I mean it's how it goes. Whoever gets the busted nut, also has to stay.
But we already
it's
know
a trade.
the ending of that story, though. So I just like that's like not even fair.
That's counterintuitive though, because then you're just going to end up soaking, and then it's going to feel like you're in a BYU dorm room instead of a fucking bunker on fucking whatever planet this is.
So you're saying he would actively try not to bust nut?
Yeah. Well, if he wants to live,
right. All right.
Don't bust if you want to.
He would try to get his cake and eat it too, for sure. He would just like do his best, and she would fake it. She would just fake it. I'm just gonna lie.
Probably.
She'd for sure have faked it.
I gotcha.
Eddie hoops.
Yeah. So there's one rocket off the planet, and it only has one seat, and this is. They start setting it up, and it's just, I don't know. The sequence isn't terribly dramatic because it's just the two of them. Like this could have gone a little quicker, I think. But then it's revealed, she's a dang robot too, and you learn it.
Oh no!
And you learn it by her showing up again. There's two of them, twins, sick,
and twins. Yes, but it is like it's. You knew it was going to happen. I guess they revealed it in a slightly creative way or shocking way. I mean, I guess it could have just been like, hey, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're banging and wait now if you think you're a robot, nuts, we're all full of nuts and bolts or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. It's just this whole part just seems so forced and like we're already on the downswing of the movie.
Yeah. And what's a shame is this is where the other departure from the original short story happens. And
also a literal departure.
Yes, it's a departure of the departure.
Yeah.
The original short story
That was so
is he puts her on the rocket and she gets out on the rocket and then you're left with him in the base as it's overrun by Davids, Beckers, and then Hansen. And so he gets the realization that he sent her to
robot back there.
He fucked up. Instead, we got a teddy bear.
Yeah.
That would have been such a fucking better scene.
Yeah.
It would have been actually. I think I would have liked that a fucking lot more.
Yeah.
I mean, I again still like the teddy bear, but I genuinely think I would have liked that ending better. It reminded me. I'm trying to think of what's his name. He played in one of the Spider-Mans. Why am I?
Bruce Campbell, Alfred Molina. Willem Dafoe.
There was a movie where this kind of thing happened where the guy got out and he all of a sudden had one of the fucking creatures from like, I don't know why he played. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to figure out who it is and I'll come back.
Okie dokie. But yeah, I guess this is another kind of bad special effect that's in this scene though. But there's a bunch of lasers protecting the rocket ship that goes away. And like anything that touches it just instantly disintegrates. Like it's not like the laser cuts at anything in half. It's just like it's instant vaporization.
Yeah.
It's like, that's kind of bad. But like overall though, this is a great film from the 90s. It was a lot of fun. Seeing it for the first time, you get a lot of twists and shocks that you wouldn't expect. And then just, the constant like learning of, fucking that's a robot. Oh, she's a robot. Oh, bummer. Everything's a robot. And
she's a robot. He's a robot. Everyone's a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I heard that punk song before.
Yeah. She's a dude. He's a dude.
Yeah.
And then, the final shot of the film is Hendrickson is on his way home to Earth. Sorry, my bad. He's on his way home to Earth and he's got the dang old David teddy bear. And that starts the move too. So that's a robot on its own.
Oh no. A teddy bear robot credits.
Yep.
So the actor that I was thinking of was Jake Gyllenhaal, and I'm trying to figure out the movie that he was like in, kind of alien type movie.
Geronimo.
Yep, you got it.
You ever see that SNL sketch with
No.
the mom translator?
No.
Where they just you have your mom talk into the machine, her mispronouncing or getting a celebrity's name wrong, and then it tells you who it is. And she's like, all right, mom, say it again. And she's like, Joey Geronimo. And then it comes up and says, do you mean Jake Gyllenhaal? And she's like, that's what I said.
That's what I said. That's him.
And it was Life, that movie Life. That's what it was too. Like when, like the last scene, that's what triggered my brain.
Oh, well, thanks for spoilers for a movie I haven't seen, Meg.
Thanks a lot. You just fucked up Life.
Good. I'm actually pretty happy about this. I'm
Ruined
proud of
my
myself.
life.
Good job, Megan.
How will I ever be able to sit through this Ryan Reynolds film without knowing, without just thinking about the ending? But
all right. Well, let's talk a little votey vote situation here.
Okay, so we have to be very clear. My movie's not winning. We already know that.
That's true.
So
I don't know.
I feel like this is in my hands. Oh my god!
I'm just gonna say, let's not
Steve this. We're not Steving this.
God,
but I mean, don't get ahead of yourself because like your movie's 46 minutes. It doesn't waste our time. The robots are rampaging consistently, whereas like Brian's film makes us wait till the last 15 minutes for any rampage at all, and it's hardly a horror film.
You need to go lay in traffic.
It's hardly a horror film.
Steve, you can't see Steve when he's saying hardly. He's looking straight up.
You know what I really just wanted though? I just want you two to like. I just want you guys to take 3 to 5 minutes, defend your film, like in a synopsis, like why should I choose your film? Because this is what it's going to come down to, unless one of you are actually going to vote for my movie, which I feel like would be you playing the game.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I refuse to. I thoroughly disliked your movie, and I really couldn't wait for it to be over.
Your movie was a trick, and it fucking tricked us, and it tricked us into buying Full Moon Feature fucking subscriptions.
For 1 month. You know what though? I tricked those fuckers too, because I'm the one who's bad at canceling subscriptions. So what I did is I went in and set it up as if it was you can gift a certain amount of months to somebody, and I gifted a month to myself.
Nice.
That's really cute. I like that. That's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
I just set alarms.
Sick. So
yeah,
because there's things I liked about both yours, and even after talking about Screamers, maybe I liked it a little bit more than I thought. Yeah.
All right,
Sell
Steve,
me, boys.
Let's hear what's your argument here?
My argument is that my film, it follows all the rules of it's a horror film, but also robots rampage, and robots for sure rampage. And then also people rampage on the robots as well, because they go to town on a fucking group of kids robots.
I also don't think you can't say that Westworld doesn't, because like there's like, though we're not talking about the rampage as in like they're just going crazy, there's like a slow burn.
I didn't say that they didn't rampage. I just said it makes you sit through a whole entire ass film that is not a horror film to get to 15 minutes of a robot rampage.
It is for sure a horror film.
It's a sci-fi horror movie.
It is not listed as horror film on IMDb.
Ooh, are we talking Meg Rails right now?
Are you talking about the International
defying
Movie
Meg Rails?
The Internet Movie Database, Brian, not the International.
Internet.
Oh wow,
that's a different one.
Oh man.
We did say, and I will say that I will call this back if I have to, and Steve's making me call back to it. When we chose this topic, we did explicitly say that we would be okay with focusing more on sci-fi because of the topic.
Right. I'm just saying I should get more points for being sci-fi and horror on the horror podcast. We should
be clear, there are no points.
in whatever way Meg.
Yeah.
In whatever way Meg is weighting things.
I mean, they're mental, personal points of like, okay, you get one right there.
Okay, well, mine has horses and yours don't, so they cancel it out.
Mine has two kinds of sickies.
That's two different types of cigarettes.
Are you calling me out because I smoke too? What the fuck?
And whiskey. Mine has Johnny Walker Red Label, while yours has fucking Swill from wherever.
Well, you know what? This was before.
It's whatever the person wants, though.
1860s or 1880s. So, you know,
it's trash.
Brands didn't work.
It's trash.
I love hearing you guys fight.
Well, here's the thing.
Warms my heart.
Let me tell you why this movie is so good. One, it's an entirely unique premise, whereas Screamers feels like amalgamation of a few different premises put together, which makes for a good, exciting movie. The performances in my movie are head and shoulders above every single performance in Screamers, except for maybe Peter Weller. We've mentioned he does a great performance. Pretty much everyone else sucks ass. I would say they both have really good twists. So I feel like that's a cancel out. You know, obviously you get the David getting blasted twist here, whereas you get James Brolin getting blasted in my movie. I feel like mine did a better job of like creating a world. Like, it's easy to put stuff in space. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to just go space logic. That's why this is this. You know, it's a dang old different planet, and it has different physics and has different oxygen and has different this and different that, and temperature's different. No, with ours, they had a lot with Westworld. There's a lot more that you have, lot more spackle you have to do to cover up the holes in the wall, if you will. Now, I'm not saying they do a perfect job of it. They don't. But for them to have that premise and make it work on Earth and make it like as chilling as they do, I just think that this movie, like Westworld, I mean, just kind of punches above its weight class in that way. Like, it has become a... I
mean, for time and place too. Like, yeah, for sure.
It has become a... and to do it 22 years earlier. And this movie is like...
See, now...
It is...
Now, you're putting too many things on the timeline. That first you said mine's like an amalgamation of too many things, and it's not. It's pretty strictly based on a short story that came out 20 years before your film.
I understand that, but they made it like it's a short story, so they had to bring it to life visually. And I think I haven't read the book, so I can't specify this, but it felt like they were, standing on the backs of some other horror movies and making a horror version of. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I guess I can't speak too much to how faithful it is to the novelization, but visually speaking, I can only speak to, how it looked like on the screen. It felt like an amalgamation of a few different movies.
So actually, okay. I just looked this up. So if we're basing it off of like talking about how Screamers kind of had a feeling of a bunch of different things, we're thinking Tremors, we're thinking me personally thinking Dune. Screamers the book that it's based off of came out before even Dune did. So that I wanted to make sure because that would, I think, give a little bit more credit to that one.
Well, we're not talking about the books. So it doesn't matter. Like we're not.
No. In my mind, the things that it reminds us of, I still oftentimes like go back to. That's my filter of like, okay, I'm younger, so I obviously know Dune. I obviously know Tremors, and this is my first time. Yeah. So that's like I wanted to confirm with that.
Sure. So, and I think another thing I would point out is like you're talking about how they have to invent things, but if you look at like the way NEB headquarters is set up and kind of the design and everything they have going on, they would have been the USSR in the original short story. And if you look at all the architecture and everything that's representing them, it's all fucking brutalism. It's cold gray walls. It's in the fucking snow like Russia would be. So like they're still they're still keeping the things being pretty
a connection to it.
Yeah. There's still like a relevance to first.
I think my biggest single sentiment is the thing that makes Westworld so special and why it's become kind of iconic. And obviously the HBO show has like some, has a lot to do with it becoming as, in the zeitgeist still probably, is it's able to, through its storytelling, do that trick I mentioned, which is to say you're looking at the screen, and if somebody walked into the room and didn't have any idea what you were watching, they'd just be like, oh, silly old Western. But you as somebody who's sucked into the story knows that no, there's so much more happening behind the scenes, on the screen, not behind the scenes of the production of the movie, but behind the scenes on the screen. We are not looking at what someone who didn't know what's happening in the, in the plot of the movie is watching. So like that, and it happens so often that I feel like that's such a great, like, people talk about world building, ways of like building a world within the story. And it's always through just like, characters and details that kind of don't matter, and backstory to stuff that, isn't necessarily, pertinent to the entire plot of the movie. This does that in a very creative way, I think, which is to say you as the audience are like kind of in on.
So yeah,
I'm not doing a great job of describing it.
I'll actually help you. I'll actually help you a little bit in that it's not just the world building like the way you're talking about. Like, in my film, the red cigarettes are world building. Yeah,
that's a good example.
But what you're saying is even in the filmic language itself, the way Crichton filmed things, it is world building because it makes you feel like you're a part of those old timey sets. So
yeah, and even like the idea of like we know, like it's almost this weird Inception level thing where the characters are in a kind of a cosplay type of situation, and we know that, and we're almost watching it as just like a conscientious objector type of thing, but we know that there are other dynamics to what's happening. So if if Peter, the character of Peter, gets smacked over the head with a beer bottle and falls down, if this was just that regular old Western, which is exactly what's shown on the screen, it's like, oh, that literally would happen in any Western scene. But now
we'd have to create a lot more to it. And I think like being able to get behind the scenes within the movie, we get to have a better understanding of like there is something going very awry,
and we're
which
also
feeds
saying like, okay, why is he getting
the
hit?
robot rampage of sorts.
Yeah, he's not allowed to get hit, in this environment.
Sidebar, that what you just said just remind me of. Do you ever watch I Think You Should Leave?
Oh yeah. Love that.
Do you remember like seeing the episode where they hire the
celebrity impersonators?
Yeah.
At that price point, he's allowed to hit. Yeah, he's
allowed to do it.
He's allowed to hit at that price point. At that price point, he's allowed to hit.
Cool.
But yeah, okay. So my point is,
you guys got your.
It sounds like Brian has one more point, and then I might have one more point. So
okay. So my point is that alone is a really, I think, dynamic thing that very few movies do, and that in and of itself, like Scanners doesn't do, not Scanners.
Sure, yeah, talk about
Screamers.
Scanners.
Screamers doesn't do anything that good. Like it's good, it's fun,
Sick.
It's entertaining, but
good. That was a really great point. I'm glad you finished on that one. Steve, what's up?
I haven't eaten in 2 days. I can't think.
I'll say, like, while I do think there is some good world building, and obviously it helps because Westworld is coming right from the mind of the writer. Like, it's the writer going right into the directing, but Philip K. Dick obviously creates wonderful worlds that people can work with and adapt, because it's happened however many fucking times over and over between this and Blade Runner and A Scanner Darkly and all that. I'll say, though, my film is a far more focused, and I would think it's even just more willing to go down the lanes that it's supposed to, whereas Westworld feels very restrained a lot of the time. And to me, it comes off very flat. Everything that's in the back rooms is flat and pretty boring. Like you get some it's all exposition. It's not like,
you mean like the
scientist
in the
to
background.
me that wasn't like a distraction of sorts. I don't know.
For me it is.
That's also
yeah, I hear
Steve, your propensity is towards action movies.
Yeah. I watch a lot of martial arts films. They're great.
My movie is a science fiction horror.
But you can, it's not a horror. Stop calling it a horror. It's a thriller. It's a thriller. It's listed as action. It's listed as action, sci-fi, thriller, western.
Of the best sci-fi horror movies out there. This will come up on that list.
I'm not. What am I going to listen to? Somebody who's paid 20 cents a letter? No, thank you.
Well, or the International Movie Database.
Internet Movie Database.
Internet Movie Database.
Internet Movie Database does not say horror. It says thriller.
Anyway,
but it's flat.
Right.
Hold on.
No,
you guys keep interrupting. Is what I just want to say is it's flat, and it doesn't go as far as it should with like showing the way people are depraved, because the whole point is to like get the idea of how awful humans are, and I don't think it comes across as well, because all you really get is like a couple scenes of the one guy trying to have sex with the robot girl, but like he never gets forceful with it. He just gets offended that he gets slapped. Peter,
in his mind, he's still in public. Like he knows he's being watched. He knows he's being but it's not like you're experiencing total anonymity.
No, but I think what comes, and it's more in the TV show, is that this is a private resort. Even though they know they're being monitored, it's kind of like an NDA thing that none of these people could tell on them for what they do at the park.
Yeah, but this is before the internet era.
Clear.
This is
clear too.
1973. This is before the internet era. People just can go to a place and assume no one's ever going to know they went there. So that stuff that exists in the HBO special, they had to close a lot of holes that somebody making a movie in the late 60s, early 70s.
So you just argued against yourself. You just argued against yourself that nobody would tell on them for doing more fucked up things, because there isn't an internet to tell on them.
But this is also a 1973 movie by a guy who makes his career making giant mass production
And we also said he kind of looks like he would have played the dad on Seventh Heaven. So like it is the 70s. And so I don't think they would have pushed it that far in now. Oh, we probably would have seen some depraved shit, which I haven't really watched the show. So like, okay. You guys did a great job defending. I have enough points to make a decision here. I'm assuming we're all choosing our own. Score. Well, maybe not mine. I'm assuming you guys are choosing each other's.
They were fake horses. You can't use horse score.
I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. We already talked about it when we talked about Brian.
Matters to the people.
Score was pretty high for this one. I remember, okay, you guys got to put up meg rails a lot. My personal meg rail for horse score is that it doesn't matter if it's an AI or a real horse. Horses are horses to me.
You know, and the actor was a real horse.
Sure. That's true. Okay, so overall, Westworld, I feel like I actually genuinely enjoyed that film. Like, I liked the concept and like for when it was put out, I think it was a very fucking well put together, unique concept of a film. And again, horse score was really good. And then Screamers, I think there was a lot of things that bothered me because it was just put out in the 90s. And I think there's just like a lot of things that just are bad because of that fact. But my vote is going to Screamers because I think it hits on the topic. Coming. I know you probably didn't, because I still think Westworld overall is a better movie, but I think I liked how Screamers, I think it hit on the topic for me a little bit better. And there were a little bit more horror elements, which I think is a lesser factor overall. So I don't want to get an argument about that one. But yeah, there's a little bit more gore for me. I liked that. A little bit more blood. Like,
it is more horror.
Overall,
it's definitely more horror.
I think it hit the topic for me. Like, there was more robots, there was more action, and I think that's in my mind when I was thinking about it. Was
quality, girl. We know this.
Shut the fuck up. That was like you're like,
more
you
robots,
didn't pick
more
my
robots,
food.
more robots.
You didn't pick my
robots,
movie, so
gore,
I'm gonna just
blood.
like cut you deep.
No,
sure, that's fine.
No, I actually like Screamers a lot. Like I said,
yeah, I would watch it again.
Like the movie.
And
I'm not mad. I'm not bitter. I'm not gonna make a big deal.
I honestly didn't know it was a Philip K. Dick story until like we talking about it, which is sad because I didn't have time to look at. I think that kind of builds. It backs up some of the things that like I saw. I like Philip K. Dick a lot, so I think that goes into it as well.
Well, there you go, everybody. We can all go watch we can all go read Second Variety and watch Screamers 2 to see if there's any more story to that. But I don't.
Did you say it was a short story?
Short story. It was published in a magazine.
What are your fans gonna say about this one?
How do you mean?
Do you remember when we recorded Megan and you said your fans are always the ones like backing you saying, man, his movie was so much better.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just now.
No, they're like.
Are they going to get loud on this one?
No.
And tell me that
they don't have to get loud because they're like, yeah, Steve had like the only horror film that was a feature. You know, like Meg, yours was a horror film and a robot did Rampage, but it wasn't even a feature. And we didn't know that. And it was also terrible. And then Brian didn't have a horror film. Bad. So like, yeah, no, I think I should have won.
Shut up.
I think I should have won.
Oh my God. That's a deep,
just twisting the knife.
Steve is champ now. And guess what, everybody?
What are we going to watch?
It's time for a punishment film. And fuck both of you in the mouth, because I don't remember the last time I had the championship. So guess what?
It's because you don't win that often.
No, it's because you, again, as Brian already pointed out, you have bad taste, and it's your fault that I lose. You two animals.
You guys are so fucking mean.
First day as the champ, Steve's fucking cutting loose.
Oh, I am pissed.
He is wild.
I've had it up to here with the both of you, and I have found a film.
Never choosing your movies again.
Great, whatever. Because I get this one punishment film in, and that's all I need.
Okay.
The film is Goodbye. GOODBI. Spell it as one word on Tubi and go fuck yourselves forever.
Goodby. Got it. Goodby on Tubi. Got
Sick.
It.
Yep.
I know nothing about this movie. I am interested to. Do you want to give us any information on it?
Absolutely not.
No? Okay, we'll go in blind. I like that too.
Go in blind, and you know what? Have snacks while you watch it.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm not going to eat it. I think I might starve myself.
Yeah. Well,
before watching it.
Thanks for bringing that up. Just saying, I haven't eaten in 2 days. Any case, guys, this is bad news. Steve's the champ. We're gonna have to watch him.
I'm not.
We're gonna have to watch.
Stoked on it. Steve's
I don't know what
not a great champ.
No, he's mean. He says mean things to us.
He's
makes us
spiteful.
watch
He's
movies.
spiteful.
Very spiteful. This is all
So
spite.
if you haven't seen, is it Goodbye? I would assume
It's either Goodbye or good. I don't know. I don't know why the title is the title, because it has nothing to do with anything. So I think it's Goodbye because it's as in bio. So it's
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, go out and check it out this week on the Tubies, GOODBI, because we're going to be talking about it next fucking week, whether we like it or not, you guys. Also, keep a lookout this week, as we are going to put out our topics for our next Showdown episode. Believe it or not, guys, that'll be May. Holy shit. We're getting into the summertime, guys. And we have a couple of, actually 3, as we normally do. There's never a couple. It's always 3 topics for you to choose from for that May Showdown episode. The first one being full moon features. Not very much coincidentally, based on the fact we just talked about one. It's telekinesis, Kyle, which is, of course, a Tenacious D reference based on the fact that we want to talk about telekinesis horror movies. And then lastly, Before They Were Stars. So that would obviously be any time, big time stars. Are we talking about stars of the screen, or are we talking about writers, directors?
stars of the screen. So actors. This is actors.
Specifically actors, right? Because we do have another category that is directors
and writers,
kind of yeah. So Before They Were Stars, so meaning big kind of A-list type celebrities in movies before they were big A-list type celebrities. So get ready, follow us on the social medias and help us vote.
Yeah. Funny enough, I found a movie, and this will be a good palate cleanser for everybody. So I won't go full mean. I'll give you something nice to watch as well. The movie Trancers almost hits all 3 categories because it's directed by Charles Band. It has a psychic element to it. It's not telekinesis, but it has a psychic element. And has Helen Hunt in 1985.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say is make sure you go to the 1985 Trancers, not like the 2015 or 2012 or whatever Trancers. Yeah, which just came out. But I think it's just called Trancers, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
Isn't there like a movie that just came out in the last 10 years just called Trancers?
Oh, that might be something different.
Yeah, hold on. I will just type in Trancers movie and maybe not. I swear to God, there was one that came up that was like some shit with like one of the dickheads from Twilight or something.
I don't think so.
I might be imagining that. So yeah, Trancers. That's a fun one.
It's a fun detective film. It's not a horror movie. So it hits all the categories, but it's not a horror movie. But it's great.
Yeah,
it's great set design, and it's like, oh wow, Charles Band used to be able to like direct a movie.
Yeah, he can. Yeah. It's just
he's got it in him. He got that dog in him. He just needs the money.
He got that. Yeah, that's true. Which we gave him some this week with the old full moon features. All right, guys. Anything else I forgot?
That's it.
That's it, right?
That's it.
All right. Well, unfortunately, Steve's taking it home, and Steve's taking it home. We're taking it up the butt this week to watching Goodby. So that being said, for the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
Oh, champ, you go fuck yourselves.
Bye. Bye. Jesus Christ was supposedly a virgin.
Yeah, he died a virgin.
Pussy.
I mean, for all the whores he hung around, he couldn't even get any over the toga stuff, you know?
Over the toga stuff.